episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on April the 19th, 2016. I'm your host, gaming psychologist, and with me as always, Captain Bad Joke.
Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, we will be talking, of course, about the games we played this week. Grand Theft Auto V's online mode has generated $500 million, yes, that's correct, $500 million. Kerbal Space Program's 1.1 launch is complete, and they've called it turbocharged. We'll have our community corner with all of your letters and tweets, and our Steam weekly deals discussion. How are you, Rage?
Yeah, doing all right. Had an eventful day.
Eventful?
Yeah. Went to the store today, and that was fun.
I'm sorry. I had an eventful day today. Really? What did you do? Oh, I went to the store.
Well, more of a homebody than anything else.
No, I totally get it. If I didn't have to leave to go see clients, I would stay home all day, every day. I am a hermit.
Anyways, I thought you were a crazy prospector.
Well, I mean, I've got a hole that I'm digging underneath my bed.
Oh,
but
my.
I mean, it just goes straight down. I'm looking for the pits of hell. I heard there's good
or you
ore
just
down
want
there.
a quick way to get some good Chinese food.
I don't... If I dug straight through the center of the earth, would I come out in China?
Actually,
like, I always heard...
usually it's water.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd probably come out in the middle of, like, the Indian Ocean or something.
Actually, there's a website for that.
Are you... You're looking that up?
Yeah.
Welcome to Video Game Logic, where we usually digress immediately into something that's not video games at all.
Well, this is kind of a game. Let's see. If I dug straight down, it would be just off the coast of Australia.
All right, send me the link. I guess send it through Skype. Let me open the chat.
This is too interesting, isn't it? Yeah,
It's intriguing.
And you would be further off the coast.
According to this, yeah, I'd be, like I said, in the Indian Ocean. Well, good to know.
Yeah, let's see. Where would you have to be to dig straight down to hit China? Looks like Argentina.
Let's see. If I dug straight down from my in-laws' house, I would be in the middle of, still the Indian Ocean. But even more so in the middle. I'm closer to Australia, which makes sense.
Yeah, so pretty much it is true if you're in the extreme end of South America.
You could dig to China?
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's go to South America, dig a hole to China, and get some Chinese food.
Because that's not a roundabout way at all.
Nah. So, get back to your story. You went to the store. This riveting tale of grocery shopping.
Yeah, pretty much just go get a couple things. But like I said, I'm usually a homebody anyway, so.
Yeah, I didn't do anything special today. It was just a normal.
Oh, see, so I did
Tuesday.
have an eventful day compared to you.
I guess. You could say that. What about games this week? What have you played this week? I know there's a few on the list.
Yeah, I have actually a few on the list. The one I've been playing the most has been Terraria, but I really can't talk about that because that kind of spoils our co-op stuff.
I will say that, man, that was Saturday's recording was fun. That was intense.
Yeah, especially because it didn't happen.
Wait, what?
We recorded Sunday, remember?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It was Sunday.
I thought you were being sarcastic.
No, I got confused for a second. I was like, what do you mean it didn't happen? Like, is that a game thing? Or are you, like, trying to make a joke? And then, you're right. We didn't record on Saturday. We recorded on Sunday.
I thought you were making the joke.
Nah. I just forgot.
But shall I launch into my rant now? Because...
Sure, we can go angry first. I mean, you are Caffeine Rage, after all, so...
I played the remaining portion of Stone Tales.
And how was it, Rage?
It pissed me off beyond belief.
That sounds great.
Okay, remember how I was talking about it being very, very primitive?
Yes.
I went back into it, trying to maintain a positive demeanor. And it seemed like they were throwing every piece of bullshit that they could in a platformer at me. Well, for one, I went into the controls, or should I say the slideshow that they have for the help screen, and to see if there is a way to independently control the different brothers. If you don't recall from the previous week, Stone Tales basically tries to copy Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and does it, well, it does about as good a job of copying that as it does making a platformer.
Weren't their names like Unga and Bunga?
Yeah, Unga
like
Bunga.
Unga Bunga.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Sell 1 million copies with that.
Well,
anyways.
Okay, there's no way to independently control the brothers at all. So, at first I thought that, okay, since I could have them jump independently, and the fact that they move at the same time, there's going to be some sort of puzzle element later on that would make use of this. Nope. It serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. Only thing it does is it makes it so it gets you extremely pissed off when you miss a jump because the bigger brother barely makes it, and he knocks the little brother off, and you have to go all the way back to the fucking checkpoint that is usually about a third of the level. You only get 3, maybe 4 checkpoints on a long level. And that's it. And it's one-hit kills the entire way. There's no extra lives. There's no pickups. The entire soundtrack is literally, just the song. There's no sound effects. And for some reason, they thought it was a good fucking idea to put on their soundtrack monkey screeching.
Monkey screeching?
Yeah, there's this one level, the first level that I played in my second recording session, was where I was having to fight monkeys. And the entire time was just monkeys screeching in the sound, in the music. And
that sounds incredibly obnoxious.
Well, if they wanted me to have a reason to kill these fucking monkeys, that annoyance...
They gave you one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and the monkeys... these two cavemen needed to invent baseball so they could hire the monkeys, because the monkeys throw coconuts at such an incredible speed, faster than your guy could actually throw a spear, which is incredibly frustrating. And like I talked about before, I think I talked about this before, or maybe it was just during the recording session. This game is 60 FPS the entire way through. I mean, it's not exactly the most graphically intense game, but all the animations feel like they're running at maybe 15 because they're really, really jerky. You know how,
that's interesting.
You know how you watch an animation that has it's just the keyframes and has none of the in-betweens?
Right, yeah.
It looked like that.
That sounds incredibly annoying also.
Yeah, so having to either dodge or put up my shield from the bigger brother to block these was incredibly frustrating. And also, I got killed a few times because I was hit at just the right angle, so it didn't register that I had my shield up, even though I did. It acted like it hit behind me or hit the little brother when it didn't. But there was also times that it would hit me from the exact same fucking angle, and it wouldn't, it wouldn't kill me. So, figure that one out.
No, I refuse.
I mean, if you want to hear me just get pissed off more and more at a game, just go watch the series. But I'm still going to talk about it some more because I'm not done.
Okay.
What you're talking about, you meant to go watch, but you haven't yet?
Yeah, I was going to say I went to go watch it today, but I didn't get the chance to.
Well, I only have 2 episodes up right now. No, correction, 3 episodes up now. The 4th one goes live just the day before the podcast goes out. And that's when, that's getting into my second recording session, by the way, at episode 4. Okay, well, the monkeys pissed me off. And the fact that the camera, you would think, okay, 2 separate brothers that could be separated because the geometry in the game sucks. You would think that the camera would split the difference, right?
Sounds reasonable.
Well, just because it's reasonable doesn't mean this game is going to fucking do it. Now, does it?
I guess not.
It is locked on the big brother the entire time. So I actually had several times where the little brother would fall, or the big brother would fall off the screen because he didn't make the jump for some reason. They had 2 independent jump keys, and it seemed like either I wasn't hitting them properly, or there was some sort of weird thing going on with the geometry of the level, which is very possible just because of how if you hit the side of a platform, imagine, just the very Mario-esque levels where,
Okay.
I'm talking about old school Mario, NES level Mario where, it's a 2D platformer and you're looking at the side.
Right.
And you
Okay.
imagine the platforms there, like he's walking along the ground. That's a giant platform.
Yeah.
Hitting the side of a platform like that, like you're jumping over and just catch the very edge of it, will cause you to lose all momentum and just kind of slowly slide down.
Ooh.
And I've done that. I did that several times on a few jumps with the big brother, but the little brother makes it over. But because the camera's focused on the big brother, it follows him down, and if he doesn't die, since there's no fall damage, because that's a really advanced feature, I would end up with the little brother completely off screen and the big brother, in the dead center, and I'm having to try to figure out, where the little brother is to bring him back down.
Right. Okay.
Incredibly frustrating. And then we get to the end of the game. Well, no, wait. Well, this is also at the end of the game. This is the final level. They add in random spikes that pop up out of the ground.
Okay. Just as you run along, or are they in pits?
No. As you run along. Well, first of all, they reuse a level from, I want to say level 3 in the last level.
Okay.
Which is incredibly lazy when there's 6 levels total. All right, and they're split up to let's call them chapters. And each chapter has probably about 3 or 4 levels. They reused one entire level, which is just so lazy. So they reused that, but then after that reused level, they put you in this pyramid because cavemen built pyramids. I mean, of course they did, right?
Absolutely.
And as you're running along, spikes will pop up out of the ground or from the ceiling. And most of the time when that happens, there's some sort of little indication there, like, oh, there's going to be a spike here. You'd see like a hole in the ground or something.
Uh-huh.
That's a fucking advanced feature.
So I'll take that as a no. They don't have that.
No, they don't have that. It is completely chance gaming. You're having to memorize the entire fucking level. So level 2 of the final chapter is all memorization. Level 3 is memorization plus a labyrinth, because you have to go through these portals, because don't you know cavemen had portals?
Well, of course they did. Caveman invented fire, so they had everything.
So you're having to go through these portals to basically go through this maze while there's a bunch of random traps going off. And, here's something that I didn't really talk about ever, is that this is a platformer where you go left and right and, slowly climb a level at points. Well,
Okay.
Usually, whenever you're climbing a level like that and you have a one guy in front blocking everything and the guy behind you throwing spears or whatever,
Yeah.
you go from heading to the right and go to left. They would, stay, vulnerable guy behind and big beefy guy in front, right?
I mean, that seems reasonable.
Of course that's reasonable. That's why they didn't fucking do it.
I love how you just laugh so mockingly at it.
Oh.
I love this. I can't wait to watch these videos. I can't wait. You have no idea how excited I am.
Well, it's still going to be like a week and a half before the series ends, because there's 3 episodes left for you. Or
That's
2
okay.
for the listeners.
That's okay.
So, okay. I eventually did get good at doing the maneuver to, get the little brother to jump over the big brother, because, that's the way that you have to reorient everyone. Otherwise, you're walking along and a monkey throws a coconut and hits you in the balls and kills you, because that's how that works.
That's a very, very stout throwing monkey. It hits you in the balls and kills you.
We get to the final level. I finally get through the memorization. I get through the labyrinth. Care to guess what happens?
One of the brothers dies, and the other one somehow gains his power.
Fuck if I know, the game crashed.
Not where I was expecting that to go, but that works.
The game crashed, and because saving is, also a fucking advanced feature.
You can't save at all?
The save states are, there's no saving in this whatsoever. What happens is that the game is completely unlocked at the beginning, and you start at the beginning of each chapter. For me to even attempt to get to the end of the game for the video, I would have to play the entire final chapter over again.
Oh. I'm guessing you ain't doing that.
No, I didn't even bother reloading the game to record the title screen for the end of the video. I put up my Indian head test signal stock footage, which honestly takes more effort than actually firing up the game again.
You just didn't want to have to deal with it again?
Yeah, but I look at it this way. I'm putting forth more effort than the game designers did in creating their game by just putting the Indian head up instead of putting up the title screen. Mostly because I didn't want to hear that fucking soundtrack again.
Well, good on you for putting in the effort. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Oh, you can just hear the disbelief in my voice when you go to listen to this. Because I know
hear it
you
in your
are.
Voice now.
It's like the game crashed. And then I record my little ending of it, and it was a mixture of displeasure and joy, just because I was done with the fucking game, and I'm not counting this as a ditched game because I got to the end and it crashed. That reminds me, I haven't left a Steam review yet.
Well,
I need to go do that.
I assume it's not going to be a happy one. I mean, just guessing. Just guessing.
What gives you that idea?
Well, I mean, it certainly wouldn't be the myriad of excellent, wonderful things you've said about it. Probably would be all the nasty things you've just said.
I'm glad this was a review copy, because I'd feel incredibly ripped off about this game.
Even if you only paid like $1 for it?
I believe it's like $10 or something like that. Actually, let me go look. What is the price of this turd? I've already uninstalled it, by the way. I cleansed it from the drive. Let's see. Oh no, it's $6, and that's about $6 too many. And I'm trying to figure out. Okay, it has 19 reviews, and it's listed mostly positive at 73%. Are people that brain damaged?
People probably really like the art style and are giving it extra credit for that.
To me, the art style could only carry it so far. You have to have actual gameplay in a game. I know, crazy, huh? There's no way that I would ever be able to review AAA games.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. Art styles are nice, and they can give a game a boost to keep it from, being so crappy or to make it excellent, but a game can't be carried by its art alone. Because that's not all, the visuals are important, but that's not all a game is.
Yeah, it has 2 negative reviews, and I have a feeling I'm going to be the third one. And I think I have the most... No, I would have the second most hours played.
Nice.
No, I'll have the most hours played by 0.4.
So what other games have you played this week?
Yeah, well, that's my Stone Tales rant. So let's get on to a good game that we actually played together. Tabletop Simulator.
Aw, yeah, Tabletop Simulator.
That was a ridiculous amount of fun.
That was so much fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for Friday night.
Yeah, I'm wanting to do it Wednesday night.
We can do that. We can play Tabletop Simulator Wednesday.
Try to figure out a good 2, maybe 3 player game if we get someone else to join.
Yeah, I picked out a couple, and I can teach you a couple that I know how to play already. So
yeah, we should go over what Tabletop Simulator is. It is literally it's not one of these games that just throws simulator in the title and it's just a terrible game. But it's a simulator. Ha ha ha. It's not Goat Simulator
or a soda drinking simulator, which God. I think came out this past week.
That was actually a freeware title for a long time.
Yeah,
I've put in for a review copy of that, by the way.
Nice.
There's a game that I got a review copy of this week that I'm not sure if I'm going to play it or not.
What game is it?
Should I tell you? It's one that's very controversial right now.
Oh, I want to know.
ISIS Defense.
Interesting.
I got a copy of that.
Interesting.
Or IS
Actually,
Defense. It's by the same devs that made Hatred.
Right. I would love for you to play it just so that we can talk about it. That would be interesting. You mean you don't have to record it if...
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to play it or not. I'm still on the fence about it.
Right.
And also, I went to the forums for it, and so much interesting discussion.
Right. So anyways, back to Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, Tabletop Simulator. An actually good simulator. It is.
Yeah,
It is a simulator where you play board games, and it's pretty much a sandbox game in that respect. You build your board games. You have mods and you have DLC that you could get officially licensed games from, and really, the sky's the limit on what you could do with it.
Yeah, I'm going to the store page right now or the workshop page to see how many.
Well, remember, not all those are games.
That's true. Not all of them are games. Some of them are skins and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of them are skins. Some of them are variants. Some of them are literally backgrounds that you could use to build up a save game and have a different background.
It would appear that the Steam store, either it's down or my Steam has crashed or something.
Your Steam has crashed because it's loading from me. There is 8,156 items in the Steam workshop for Tabletop Simulator.
Yep. And not all of those are board games or card games, but many of them are.
Yeah,
at least thousands of them are.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of games. I wouldn't say every game that you can name is here, but a good chunk of the board games are here.
Yeah, there have been a few games that I went to look for that aren't there. At least in English, for example, like Munchkin. Mm-hmm. I really wanted to play Munchkin with you guys on stream, but the English version is not in the game. Someone has made the German version.
Yeah, there's also some really obscure ones.
Yeah.
Like the one really I showed you.
Titles. Which one that you showed me?
You know the one. The one that I was talking about how we have to play that at one point.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Not sure if you want to get... Well, it's probably given away, but political.
Let's if somebody figures it out, good for them, but let's not say it.
And it's an actual board game. It's not, one that someone's making it to just be a dick.
Yeah. But, I mean, we played Love Letters.
Yeah, which, it was all right. I don't think it was an amazing game. Maybe it's just, the fact that I sucked at it. Even though I was good at knocking you out for some reason. Don't ask me how I was getting that.
Yeah, Love Letters is a card game that's playable by up to 4 people, where that basically... it's kind of like a version of Top Trumps. That's the quickest way to describe it. And you're just trying to get the highest card at the end.
Yeah.
Or eliminate all the other players.
Yeah, then we played... we played Launch as well, which... That was probably the worst game of the night, just because...
It was boring.
It's a kid game.
Yeah, it's a game for 7 to 12-year-old kids.
And there was
play with their parents.
There was really no strategy.
No, it was 100% luck. You just get the cards that you need in order.
Then we played Uno, which was actually a lot of fun once we figured out the variant that we wanted to play.
Yeah, once we got all of our house rules down pat. I'm going to call that the friend zone rule set. The official friend zone rule set. And that's how.
But I think the game of the night was King of Tokyo.
Oh yeah, that was so much fun. We're definitely playing that Friday when we can round up a bunch of people for sure. And if enough people come Wednesday, we're playing that again.
King of Tokyo is basically every monster movie you could ever think of as a board game. You have, it's essentially King of the Hill, really, as a dice game. If you think of it, that's basically King of the Hill, right? And you're trying to fight off the other monsters while racking up victory points or just killing them outright. But the interesting thing is all the powers that you can get in we barely scratched the surface of that deck.
Yeah, we didn't hardly get any of the cards. You got the most.
Yeah.
I won, and I didn't buy a single card.
Yeah, looking back, I made a mistake. I should have bought the card that wiped out victory points. But that would have probably just prolonged things.
Yeah, it was good that it rounded up quick because it was like at the end of the stream we started playing it. But I'd like to play it some more. There's definitely some strategy involved with the cards, and I mean, with lots of people, it was a blast.
Yeah, especially once, probably about halfway through the game where people understood what was going on, because at the very beginning, no one really understood. And I think it was me and, was it Ghost Shark that...
No, it was you and Spaceman who had to play.
I'm terrible with names at times.
Yes, you are. That's your shtick on the show.
I can't remember which it was that also knew the rules, that was able to understand it with me.
Yeah, it was you and Spaceman. You both knew the rules. I think he had played it before, and you just knew the rules from watching a YouTube.
Yeah, it was also pretty easy to pick up. You roll the dice, keep what you want, and you get 2 re-rolls. Unless cards state otherwise that either you buy or someone else has, because there's some cards that affect other people's dice rolls or moves in general.
Yeah, it's a fairly simple game to learn, but there's a lot more to it. So I'm looking forward to playing it some more.
It may be a bit luck-based for some people, or too luck-based, but that's where the cards come in, because you could get cards that changes your dice rolls. I mean, you saw me use a power to knock out Be Cool by burning 4 energy.
Yeah, I won because I got a lot of really lucky dice rolls, but like nobody really knew what they were doing, and so I just managed to get lucky. And
I think I was in the second best position.
Yeah, you came in second, and you were playing cards and stuff. So if I hadn't gotten so many lucky dice rolls, I would not have won. Yeah, and
I was probably in the best position on health because I bought a card that gave me extra health.
Yeah. You had that. We were playing extremely peacefully in the beginning because nobody knew how to or knew what to do.
Yeah. Well, there's always this posturing position where, I should explain. I mentioned it was like King of the Hill. Depending on the numbers of players, there's either 1 or 2 people that are essentially racking up victory points because they are the King of Tokyo. During that phase, while you're in Tokyo or Tokyo Bay, if there's 5 or 6 players, every time your turn comes around, you get 2 victory points. You get 20 victory points. You win. You get 1 victory point for also taking the city.
Right.
But the thing is that you cannot heal while you're in Tokyo because you're too busy rampaging.
Gotta love a good rampage.
And also, every other monster is able to hit you. But when it's your turn to attack, you hit all the other monsters in return.
Right.
But also, after you're attacked, you could yield the city to them and bring them in to try to finish off someone that's weak. So that's where some of the strategy comes in. Someone that's too weak to really hold the city for too long, you could drag them into it to try to weaken them further to be able to get a killing blow on them later.
Right.
Which I think that's what happened to Be Cool.
Yeah, that's how we got him. We got him roped into the city with low health, and he got killed.
Yeah, well, I was the one that finished him off because I used an ability.
Yeah, you killed several players. You killed him. You killed Spaceman. Did you kill Jim, or did Jim survive to the end?
No, Jim survived to the end, but he was low health.
Yeah, and I was low health too.
And I was a little too low to really be able to take Tokyo. But you weren't going to yield it because you were too close.
Yeah, I was too close to the end, so I got the points for that. And then I got a good dice roll, and that's how I won the game.
Yeah, and there's also an expansion set for King of Tokyo once we get a little tired of it. That makes things really interesting.
Which is newer, King of Tokyo or King of New York? Because I saw King of New York. I think
King of New York is a variant of King of Tokyo. I'm not 100% sure. The expansion to it is called Power Up.
Yeah,
it adds
I saw that
another creature, but it also has mutation cards that, there's 2 ways that you could, actually 3 ways that you could do it. You could, every different character has a theme. Like, I think the king, the guy that I was playing, he's really big on offensive moves and trying to hold Tokyo.
Right.
But if you roll 3 hearts, you're able to draw for your mutation deck, and it gives you an extra power. Which it could be, your attacks deal more damage, you heal more whenever you're healing, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Little things, just that kind of change things. There's one, trying to think of which character it is, that is able to actually detach his tail to avoid all damage incoming for that turn. But
That's interesting.
But he discards that mutation at the end, because he lost his tail. And there's a few ways that you could play the mutations. You could, have all the theme decks handed out to the different characters. Or you could shuffle them all together and, deal them out. And have the decks completely randomized.
That sounds interesting. I saw that expansion when I added King of Tokyo to my Amazon wish list, and then that's where I saw King of New York.
Yeah, I'm not sure if King of New York is different or not. I imagine it's the same idea, but it may be just an updated version.
Yeah, or it may be an old version, and King of Tokyo is the updated version. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't look too closely at it because the one I was suggested, I've been kind of going around on board game YouTube videos and looking at the popular ones. Was King of Tokyo, and I saw that on there. And I think it was a winner.
Yeah, King of Tokyo was good. It was definitely my favorite game that we played, and my favorite new board game, at least from recent history. But there's so many board games I want to play and try to figure out how to play on Tabletop Simulator. The only thing is that some of them, there's a certain level of complexity that you can reach. Yeah. And at that point, it just becomes too fiddly. Because it's not, you're not actually sitting at a table using your hands. So.
Yeah, and it does slow down the game. King of Tokyo is a pretty quick game, but especially some of the other players that hadn't really played with Tabletop Simulator, they were kind of slow.
Yeah. I think that with another couple of games, us just getting better at the game itself, we could probably play through a whole game in about 20, maybe 30 minutes with the same amount of players. It took us about 45 to do that learning game, so that's not too bad.
Yeah, it looks like King of New York is essentially the same idea. So it's probably just a bit of a different theme.
Right. So yeah, that was Tabletop Simulator. We enjoyed the heck out of it, and we're going to be playing it a lot more. On my YouTube channel, the VOD will be up by Friday from our board game stream.
Yeah, really. The last one I saw was actually Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, I got really behind on posting those because I just I go and I export them all to YouTube, and I don't post them. They just sit there for forever. But I bumped the board game stream or Tabletop Simulator stream up on the queue just because I wanted to get it out sooner because it was so much fun. I mean, it was a good stream in general with good talking.
Yeah, and I don't think I did, but thank you for sending that to me.
Huh?
Tabletop Simulator itself.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I bought a 4-pack and gave it to you and Ghost Shark and Spaceman so that we could all play.
Yeah, hopefully Ghost Shark gets his computer fixed.
Yeah, hopefully he does. He'll tell us about that a little bit later on. Or maybe a lot later on. Depends on how long it takes us to get there. Because we've only talked about 2 games and we've been recording for 37 minutes.
Good thing it was a light news week.
Yeah, super light news week. What with PAX coming up and all that, everybody is...
Yeah, shall I say my third game for when we get around to that news article?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that brings us to you then.
Right, so the games that I played this week, Tabletop Simulator, which we already discussed. So other games I played this week, Clash Royale. I am in the 5th arena. Well, I'm in the top of the 4th arena. Or am I in the... Shoot. I suddenly can't remember which arena is which. Because I've been getting bounced back and forth because I'm at the top of one arena. So usually every couple of wins, I get bounced up to the next arena. And then I immediately die and get thrown back down because I'm not strong enough to compete at Arena 6. So I'm in Arena 5.
So it's pretty much what I've heard, I think it was Total Biscuit that was talking about it, how if you're in the upper, let's say half of the arena, you're not fighting against the people of that arena. You're fighting against the losers from the previous from the next arena.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the top of Arena 5. I built a deck that is great. I rarely lose at Arena 5, and I spent $10 on the game so I could open chests and play a lot faster. And in one day, I went from kind of the bottom middle of Arena 5 all the way to the top. And every 2 or 3 games, it will put me in a game with someone who's at the bottom of Arena 6, and I will get murdered without even, most of the time before the timer even runs out to go to overtime. And then I get bumped back down to Arena 5. Then I'll win a couple of games, and then the same thing happens. Back up to Arena 6, immediately get killed.
Is it just they have more powerful cards, or what?
Yeah, they have more powerful cards. Arena 6 is where you get the Mana Generator, which is a card that every few seconds, or whenever you play it down, it's expensive, but every few seconds it gives you an additional mana. So if you get one of those at the beginning of the game, if it's not killed almost immediately, or within 30 seconds or less,
it steamrolls you.
It steamrolls. And everybody has one, and I don't have one because I can't win any Arena 6 games. So I just keep getting steamrolled.
It's all right. Just buy some cards.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I've spent enough money on that game. I felt like it was worth about $10. That's what I spent on it. And I'll keep playing it until I get bored, and then I'll move on. But I mean, I'm still having a good time. I'm still trying to figure out a way to beat these guys that have better cards than me through strategy. But the only problem is that I'm still in Arena 5. My icon hasn't changed to Arena 6. Mm-hmm. So when I get an Arena 6 match, it's well, crap. If I'd known I was going to be in Arena 6, I would have tried out this deck composition that I've been thinking about and testing.
The beta killer.
Yeah. Basically, that's what I did. I found a deck that killed the current level 5 meta. And I was just able to fight my way up because I had created a better deck than what the meta was.
Or you created a deck that plays against the meta. Maybe not a better deck, but one that has the advantage against it.
Right. So, I mean, it's still fun. I'm still enjoying trying to fight my way up, but I'd say if pretty soon, maybe in the next week, because I play it every day. I'll play 3 or 4 games. Well, when I spent money on it, I was playing 10 or 12 games a day. But I still am playing 3 or 4 games a day to wipe out my entire chest, all my chest slots, and fill those up. So I'm still enjoying it, but in another week, maybe 2, if I can't break up to the next level, I'll start to get really frustrated and bored with it. Because, I mean, I have ran up against the wall where all of the players who can't cut it at the higher levels have fallen back down and are keeping us, people at my level, from getting up to the next rank or the next arena.
Especially because of all those damn mana generators.
Yeah, the mana generator's rough. I mean, it is expensive, and one of my big ideas is to use a card that can knock it out, immediately, so that it's actually a loss for them, because I think the mana generator costs 7 or 8 mana. It's really expensive. But it generates mana that in 30 or 45 seconds, it has evened out, and then it starts to overcome its cost.
Yeah, but I imagine that they protect that like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's always at the back of their base. The only way you can hit it is with missiles or something like that, one of the AoE kind of spells. I'm not sure if there's a spell that's powerful enough to take it out in one hit yet. I haven't got to test anything against it. They're not as strong as defense towers, but most of the defense towers can easily survive a missile strike, which is right now the most powerful kind of AoE spell thing that I have. So, I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully next week I can report back with more victories. Let's see. Other than Clash Royale, I have played some more Skyforce Unite. I forgot the exclamation point last week, but...
Oh, does that mean I have to go back and edit the show notes?
Nah, it's fine. Leave it. My playing tech in that game is starting to get really skewed. My attackers...
Well, you could always talk to Free Toss if you need to get some some tips on your tech.
Yeah, I could use some tips on building better fighter planes. My attackers, which are my ground attack planes, and then bombers are kind of an offshoot of that research tree. Both of those are at around Korean to Vietnam era airplanes. I'm starting to get the first few jets and lots of really big propeller bombers. Stuff between, I think it's the B-47, which was the bomber that came before the B-52. I've got that, and I've got, I think it's called the B-17 Bear, the big Russian bomber with 8 propellers. I've got one of those, and then I've got several attack aircraft from the Korean era. But then my fighter planes, I don't really focus on that tech tree any. So they're all at around early World War II era stuff. I still haven't really gotten past the Zero fighter, which is still my best aircraft. I was talking about it last week. I've started researching helicopters now, though. I've got the Huey gunship and a Chinook, so around Vietnam era tech on the helicopters. And they're kind of like a mix between bombers and attackers, except they get a bonus to using missiles, so they can also do all right against air enemies. So those are kind of what I've been using in the place of fighters, but I need fighters. I'm starting to get to even higher levels in the game and facing more and more actual military hardware instead of fairies and unicorns that are on fire.
Before or after you engage them?
Yes.
Hey, unicorns are serious business.
They are. And I finally lost my first mission. Like, I mean, there have been some very tough missions that I could have lost before if it wasn't for, like, a lucky attack or something like that. I mean, the game definitely it can be challenging at times. And it's not random either. It's very skill-based. Like, I mean, if you bring in the right compositions, it can be a breeze. If you bring in poor compositions, it can be horrible. Or if you get in over your head, like choosing a level that's too high compared to you. So it's not like it's a dice roll. It's like, oh, you rolled really poorly on the dice. I guess you're screwed. You should spend some money. Like, there's actually a lot of strategy involved in the game, which is why I like it so much on top of its theme. But I'm starting to get to the level of difficulty where it's like, I really need fighter planes. I just really need them. I ran up against an entire actual military level where everything was actual military hardware, fighter planes, and it was a sea level. So fighter planes and naval ships, destroyers.
What sorcery is this? Iron birds?
Iron birds with wings that don't flap.
It looks like they've had Taco Night because look at the fire coming out.
They went to Taco Bell. But it was extremely difficult, and I lost pretty badly. It was very expensive to recover all of my planes after that. But, I mean, it's a fun game.
Just get the pool skimmer?
Yeah. Go out there with a barge and just tow them in.
Or just have them land on the barge.
They're not rockets, they're planes.
Aw.
Although one of the special planes is the space shuttle. Like, it's like a special kind of, haha, this is funny.
I was going to say, wait, how does that work?
Yeah, the space shuttle.
I could say something very mean right now, but no, I won't go there.
It's a bomber.
You're making it not very easy for me, by the way.
I know. It's a bomber, and
to be honest, the shuttle was kind of strapped to a giant bomb.
Kind of, yeah. And then there's a flying rubber ducky.
Is it the one?
It's the one. And then there's a Formula One car, and there's some other like fun stuff, but I mean, it's other than that, it's real planes. But yeah, it's a fun game, and I really enjoy it, and I'm going to continue to play it and potentially spend some money on it. I'd like to get some of those fancy high-end planes that you can only get by spending real money. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it because my current loadout is fine, and if I just played it a little bit more, I could unlock some better fighters, and I think that I could get through the higher levels, no problem.
Just go through the club some more, get the free premium currency, and get it that way.
They changed the way that works.
Oh, they figured out that you were cheating?
Yeah, they figured out that people were very easily exploiting it. So instead of being able to get free currency every day, you can only get free currency once a week, and the amount that you get is much less.
Oh.
So You can still get free currency, and if you spent time, or if you were just patient, you could get it. But
You're not.
It's not that I'm not patient. I'm incredibly patient.
Well,
It's
you
just
put up with me.
That's true. I just am really enjoying the game.
You were supposed to disagree on that one.
Nah, it's true. I just am really enjoying the game, though. I'd like to play it more, and get some more cool stuff out of it.
So it's basically like Clash Royale.
Yeah, it's a lot like Clash Royale. It's actually a really, really good game that I'm interested in spending some money on. I just have to decide like where the right point is, because every time I level up my technology, more and better stuff unlocks in the paid shop. So it's like, well, if I keep going, eventually, I will keep getting more bang for my buck, essentially, because the price on getting premium aircraft doesn't change. Every premium aircraft is 30 blue sky medals, which is what their premium currency is. Like, it's the equivalent of gems or whatever in any other game. So they're all 30 blue sky medals. And as you level up your technology, you unlock better planes in the premium shop. So I'm probably just going to keep biding my time until I basically hit the point where it's like, okay, I cannot go any farther, and it will frustrate me to no end to grind this out. And I'm not at that point yet.
So you haven't hit Arena 6 yet?
No, I haven't hit Arena 6. Other games that I played this week. So this is a completely new one. It is called Starpoint Gemini Warlords. I mentioned this last week when I discovered that it was about to come onto early access. Full disclosure, I was able to obtain a copy from the developers for free.
Ooh.
So this is not for review or anything. I literally emailed them. I was like, hey, I did a whole bunch of review stuff for you on Starpoint Gemini 2. I just discovered this game. I'm late to the party. I was wondering if you had any review copies left. And they were like, yeah, we remember who you are. Here you go. So they gave me one.
You didn't mention your YouTuber friend who actually does reviews?
I asked if...
I'm joking.
I actually did ask. I told them that I do collabs with a YouTube partner now, and I'm not affiliated with my old site. And they said that they would think about it and get back to me, but they haven't got back to me yet.
Yeah, let me see if I've actually put in for a review copy, because I go through a third-party system to get most of my review copies, which is probably about the only reason why I really care about my subscriber count, because that they see a bigger channel and they're more likely to give me a copy. So
Right.
Continue talking.
Right. So what this game is it continues the story from Starpoint Gemini 2, which very, very light spoilers for the end of that. Starpoint Gemini 2 ends, and it's very freelancer-esque. It's like you've done all this stuff, everybody knows who you are, and there's a whole bunch of new nations popping up based on the events in the game, and they're all like, hey, we want you to come join us. And you're like, nah, I think I'm going to do my own thing for a while.
Oh, the ending to Freelancer was so disappointing.
It was. And so was the ending to Starpoint Gemini 2.
But then again, can it be disappointing if Freelancer really didn't have an end?
Yes. Yes, it can. But
looks like I didn't put in for a review copy, so doing that right now.
So Starpoint Gemini 2, or Warlords, kind of picks up at where that game ends. And I think this is a continuation of the main character from that. There's very little of the story implemented, and they've been pretty hush-hush on what the actual story is, because they want it to be a surprise. They've just said that it's a continuation. But I think that this is a few years down the road, and the main character from Starpoint Gemini 2 started his own either mercenary faction or became the head of a small nation of some kind.
Did some water tart throw a sword at him?
Yeah, they did. Excuse me.
Hey, I have to get my references in.
Absolutely. It wouldn't be the podcast without all of your references that nobody understands.
Hey, if nobody understands Monty Python, turn off the podcast right now and go watch Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That's true. They're way better than we are.
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of need to understand Monty Python to be able to understand the internet.
That's true.
Because, they were doing random wackiness way before the internet.
Yeah, wonderful random wackiness. And now for something completely different.
Well, actually talking about video games?
Yes, indeed. But so anyways, I think that this is an offshoot of what the character from Starpoint Gemini 2 was doing at the end of the game. And right now, the game is basically Starpoint Gemini 2 with a starbase added. Warlords, the premise of Warlords, what they're promising is that this is going to be a combination of a 4X game and a space shooter like Freelancer or Starpoint Gemini 2 was.
Interesting.
So you are going to be in command of your nation, and you will be in charge of building space stations and developing planets and researching technology and building fleets and sending them out to do stuff. But also, you are the captain of a ship, and, well, I guess you're the admiral of your own fleet that tools around with you and does stuff. And you can go participate in any ongoing missions or battles that you've assigned to your ships. You can go off and do your own thing. And you're not limited to just fighting. You can do mining and other resource gathering, like through salvaging or gas cloud harvesting. You can go do quests to assist the research division or planetary development, at least according to what they say that you can do. Right now, none of that's in the game. All that there is that you have a star base, which can be upgraded with different modules that give you, right now, bonuses. Because a lot of the economy system is not put into the game. So you've got that star base. It will automatically generate fleets for you every so often that you can then command to go attack other sectors to capture them. And you can go assist in the battles in capturing the sectors. Otherwise, I mean, it's Starpoint Gemini 2. It's got the entire old mission system. Right now, none of the new ships are in the game that they have said that they've put together. So it's the entire old ship list from Starpoint Gemini 2. And I mean, that's fine. That part's a solid game. I mean, Starpoint Gemini 2 is great. I recommend it to everybody who's looking for a game to replace Freelancer in their library. You know, like, if you want a more modern version of Freelancer, there's no game that does that better than Starpoint Gemini 2.
So you're basically telling me to go play that on the channel, because I did do Freelancer on point.
You should do Starpoint, or you should play Starpoint Gemini 2. It's a really fun game and at this point, it's got a lot of great mods for it. The developers, Little Green Man Gaming, are very open to the modding community, and there's like Star Wars mods and lots and lots of sci-fi ship packs. And
Is there any space game that does not have a Star Wars mod?
Fair enough. Star Wars and Star Trek mod.
My point still stands. That's
true.
literally the first two things.
Those were actually the first two mods on the Steam Workshop.
Which the third, I would say, these days is probably Firefly or Battlestar Galactica, one of the two, depending on which fan base adopts the game first.
I'm not sure. The last time I played Starpoint Gemini 2, neither of those mods existed, but this has been over a year ago, I think, since the last time I played it.
It just seems like Firefly is also very popular in Battlestar Galactica. If there's big capital ships, that's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah. And that's kind of the focus of Warlords in comparison to Gemini 2. Gemini 2 was all about kind of solo or small squad ship combat, and certain points in the story you got roped into big fleet battles, but it was always, one or two ships versus one or two ships of equal class. And most of the game you spent in a cruiser or smaller. You could get battleships and carriers and fly those around, but
I just hope they did better voice work. Ugh.
Starpoint Gemini... No, they did not.
Oh, God.
Gemini 2 is on par with Freelancer, I think, and how cringy its dialogue.
You're not selling me on this now.
Warlords is worse, but since it's still in early access and they don't have a lot of the story stuff done, I'm going to cut them some slack at this point and just hope that they do a lot better voice work than they did with their other games. And if you can't stand the voice work, don't go play the original Starpoint Gemini. It's awful. Oh my gosh, the voice acting is so bad.
I won't say that Freelancer and the like was unplayable to me, but it's just the obvious, it wasn't where the budget went.
Yeah, Gemini 2 is the same way. The budget for that game very clearly is in its graphics and physics engines, not in its voice work. But so yeah, Warlords it's fun as a game. It's fun. It's basically Starpoint Gemini 2 with a couple of extra mechanics on top, and that is great. Where it's not great, and what I can't understand is that, and they've said we're using the exact same engine as Starpoint Gemini 2. The game runs like ass. It's so bad, so bad. It
So in other
doesn't
words,
work.
on my machine, I'd be able to enjoy each solitary frame.
If you could get it to play more than 1 or 2 frames without crashing. Playing it in full screen mode, at least at the moment, because they haven't updated it yet since launch, or since early access launch. Full screen mode doesn't work. It just crashes. I don't know of anybody's machine who can play it. Borderless window mode works, but it has very frequent frame drops every time anything exciting happens. So combat is rough at best. Every time you switch sectors, which the game can be, you can fly across the entire map without the game actually like going to a loading screen. But every time you switch sectors, which is kind of like a zone that, the game loads, lots and lots of open world games does that. The game freezes for a few seconds. It would be better off if it had a loading screen at this point. Frequent crashes for things that don't make any sense. And there's no set pattern. It just crashes, almost like it's got a memory overflow or a memory leak like KSP has had before. Mm-hmm. It just fills up and then the game crashes.
Which we're going to be talking about that in a little bit.
Yeah, which I've got 16 gigs of RAM, so it takes a while for that to happen. But, I mean, it still happens pretty frequently. Steam says I've played this game for 4 hours at this point. That's a lie. I've done quite a bit of recording in it that I do offline. Probably an extra 4 or 5 hours in the game. And it crashes a lot.
Steam is very weird about how it tracks its time, because sometimes it actually tracks offline play and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's definitely not tracking this offline play. I know that for a fact. I'll be putting some footage of it up. It's just gameplay. XSplit liked to crash whenever I tried to record audio. So I just recorded gameplay and the game audio. There's no talking. I might do an overlay over the top of it if I have time, but I probably won't. Let's be honest. I'm pretty lazy and a pretty busy man. So I can't understand if they're using the exact same engine, all the same assets, only a couple of new gameplay mechanics layered over the top of it. The only thing I can think of is that either it's just poorly optimized, and I don't know how they did that, again, with the same engine and the same assets, or all this stuff they got going on in the back end is a nightmare. And
hasn't been worked on yet.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got all of it obfuscated from the player. It's stuff that, like, we can't access. You can see it in menus and things, but you can't access it. But I'm wondering if it's all running in the background, and they are using this time to collect data on how it's working so that they can go make tweaks and optimize it. Because that's the only thing that makes sense for this game to not be working like it is, at least in my mind. I wouldn't recommend that you go buy it right now unless you have played Starpoint Gemini 2 and you really like Starpoint Gemini 2. In which case, yeah, I mean, it's just more Starpoint Gemini 2. I've enjoyed my time with it so far, but it has been frustrating. And then, of course, on to the final game that I played this week, EVE Online.
Oh boy, here we go. It's a good thing I have a magazine. I'm not joking.
Wow. Some nice paper flopping sounds there. Can't be any worse than my background noises, though, so. Anyways, so personal stories in EVE Online this week. We are taking a corporate vote whether or not to join an alliance that operates in our area. Citadels are releasing end of this week, first of next week. I'm not 100% sure on when the date falls in, but it's like the 25th or the 27th. I think it's the 27th. Which is like I said, end of this week, first of next week. And we are one of, actually, even though we're small in members, we're one of the most prolific corporations in our region. And the Big Alliance has taken notice and has approached us on diplomatic terms, like, hey, we see you, doing stuff here. First of all, we want to know your intentions, like to see if we're hostile or not, which they very quickly realized we weren't. And then they asked if we wanted to join their alliance as a as a member of the local kind of mining industrial alliance. And we have discussed it, and it is something that we think is worth our time. They're fairly peaceful. They've been in a couple of wars in the past, but nowhere near as many wars as my last corporation and the alliance that we were a part of.
Well, to be fair, they were at war, 3-4 weeks in a row?
Yeah. So...
different wars, I might add, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, it was 4 different wars in 4 weeks. This corporation in the last 4 months has had, I think, 1 war. Or this alliance, I should say. So, and on top of that, they've got a PvP wing and they've got an industrial wing and stuff like that, and we would be folded into their industrial wing. So, I think it's got potential. I'm hesitant because of my previous experiences, but I did tell the other corporate directors, I have my personal experience. I don't want to hold back your gameplay. So if this is something that we all want, I will go along with it, and I can be the cautious one that we can discuss things about, or discuss things from my perspective if the need arises to do so. Because I'm not gonna go kicking and screaming and pitch a hissy fit and be childish about it.
Don't forget to hold your breath.
Oh yeah, I gotta hold my breath until I pass out. But, I am hesitant. My entire corporate and alliance experience has been a negative one so far. But I'm willing to give it a shot, especially if everybody else wants to do it.
But is this corp headed by a dumbass like the last one? The last one. Well, the one that you're in now compared to the last one.
No, the one that we're in now is a much better led corporation. I'm a member of the leadership, which, I'm personally biased. I'm personally biased. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely a better leader than our last corporate leader was. And then the actual main corporate leader he's a smart dude, and he likes to listen to our opinions, and he respects the fact that I've played the game for about 5 times longer than he has. So that's good. Other than that, mining, that sort of thing. Got some more Eve Explained videos coming out that I've been doing, having some fun with those. In the greater world of Eve, though, that whole war effort, or that whole war that was kind of toned down last week, it's been turned up to 11. So there's a link that's going to be...
So it's one louder?
No, it was 5 last week. It's 11 now. So there's a link that's going to pull up a search on a site called Dotlan, which has got all kinds of information on EVE Online. In the last 31 days, Goons, which is, in case you don't remember, is the main corporation in the Imperium, has lost 52 systems, and 41 of those 52 losses have been in the last 7 days. It is crazy what has happened to them. Today alone, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 systems lost.
Is this just all-out attacks, or the guerrilla warfare that you were talking about before?
No, this is all-out attacks. There's some guerrilla warfare going on. If you go back and look at the earlier part of last week, we recorded on Monday last week. Around Tuesday or Wednesday, there's a couple systems lost. That's the guerrilla stuff. But starting 3 days ago on the 17th, all-out war started, and the Iron Bank had everybody push in. Everybody. Yesterday, the Goons lost one of their Titan production facilities.
Ooh.
That was nasty. They actually...
completely lost it, or was it taken over?
No. They blew it up.
Oh, wow.
Goons blew it up so that the Iron Bank couldn't actually capture it. They self-destructed it along with a couple of Titans that were in system. They just blew them up and left.
Wow. That's some money.
They've been losing fleet after fleet after fleet. We still haven't seen a full-blown capital engagement yet. But, if that doesn't happen soon, the Goons are going to be so overwhelmed that they won't have the numbers to field a capital fleet. I mean, it's ridiculous how much stuff they've lost. I read it, and
it's kind of ridiculous just how much stuff they had.
Yeah, I read a post on Eve, the Eve subreddit today, which, I take all of these with a grain of salt, but someone estimated that they've lost around 2 trillion ISK in assets at this point, which is insane. In my entire career of playing Eve, I've never seen a tenth of that much money.
Wow.
So it's mind-boggling how much money they've lost. And they still have got a decent chunk of territory to lose.
So the original map that was in the show notes, I think 2 weeks ago, showing the star chart, how much of a change would all these systems be?
Hack at least a third of it off.
Wow.
They've lost a lot of territory. A lot. And they're still losing it. Like, let's see what happens when I refresh the page. Okay, so they haven't lost any new systems today. I mean, we're 20 minutes into Wednesday. So they haven't lost any systems today yet. But I'm sure they will. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can't wait to continue to make money on the back of this. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's probably tough for you to get away from the mines to be able to record this right now, huh?
Yeah, no, not really. Not really.
You had to reconsider there.
I had to think about it for a second, yeah. We mined out an asteroid field last night and chatted about all this alliance stuff. We've got 1 billion ISK in minerals waiting to be built into things for sale. And we keep our production queues full all the time. So I'd say that when it actually comes time to sell things on the market, we've got at least 1.5 billion in producible assets, probably more, since after this war is over, the value of things will go up when everyone rearms.
Do you think the Goon Squad could be wiped out completely at this point?
No, I don't know. That's tough. I think that they will survive. The core of them will survive. Matani and those that are closest to him.
So Hitler's not going to commit suicide in his bunker?
I don't think so, although Matani is basically just lying to his court members all the time. Now at this point, trying to get his pilots to come online and fight. He calls them fireside chats, but they've become known as propaganda fests. And you can go watch them, and he just blatantly lies about what's been happening.
So it's not so much Hitler as the Iraqi Minister of Information.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or do you remember that one?
No, I remember that. No, he pretty much is just
I know
lying.
that was probably a long time for you.
That was a long time ago. Was but a wee lad. But no, he basically just lies to his people all the time now, trying to get them to come online. So I'd say that the core group, his core group, will stay as long as he doesn't actually just quit playing altogether because of this, which is possible. I mean, he basically went from king of the castle to
Hitler hiding in his bunker.
Yeah, over the span of a month. So he might just quit or start over with a
Were
new
they
character.
the biggest alliance, or?
Yeah, they were the biggest by far.
How does it stack up now? If the war were to end today.
If the war was to end today, they would be in the top alliances. I'm not sure if they would stay the biggest. They've lost a lot of members and a lot of member corporations through this. They would still be in the top 5 if it ended today, but I don't know if they're still number 1, their lead would not be by very much anymore. They've lost a lot, which just means there's more for me to gain.
Spoken like a true space dwarf.
So those are all the games that I played this week. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I think I'm done about hearing your war profiteering.
So our first news topic, Grand Theft Auto 5's online mode has generated $500 million freaking dollars.
It's kind of sickening, isn't it?
Part of me wants to congratulate them, like, wow, you guys made $500 million off of this. And then like the other part of me like punches that part in the testicles and is like, hey, they made that with microtransactions in a AAA game, you dumbass.
It's not even just microtransactions. It's the fact that they are selling literally fake money. It's not like they're selling, little pieces of content. They are literally selling just ways to skip the absolutely absurd amount of grind that they put into the game to create $500 million fucking dollars.
Yeah. And this is Rockstar. Rockstar is a huge AAA developer with a long history of making, top tier games. I mean, obviously Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I'm not sure if I would call Grand Theft Auto Online top tier based on everything I've heard about it.
Well, I mean,
especially on PC, I should say.
I'm just talking about the Grand Theft Auto games in general.
Yeah.
And then they've had their hand in a number of other games. They've published their fair share of good games. They've had some bad ones too, but I mean, on the whole, Rockstar is doing fine. They don't need $500 million in microtransactions, but obviously people are buying them. So
yeah, well,
in their minds, why not sell them?
I completely understand why they're there. There's this phrase that absolutely drives me insane whenever I hear game devs talking about it. It's leaving money on the table. They don't want to lose out on things because they gave out stuff too much. And that's kind of what's going on here, is that they saw the ability to charge for basically grind skips. And they turned it up to 11.
Right. I just had this thought, and I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I wonder if in the near future we will see laws developed governing the use of microtransactions.
That is an interesting idea. Honestly, I kind of hope not. Not because microtransactions should be allowed to just go free like this. Because honestly, I think they need to be reined in. It's more that I don't trust lawmakers to be able to make sensible laws about video games.
That's fair. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I just had that thought pop into my head. Like, oh, I wonder if they'll ever make laws governing the use of microtransactions.
Now, don't get me wrong. They have used this money to develop GTA. Or I should say the online component of GTA. Because as far as I've heard... Now, granted, I haven't played GTA 5 yet. Mostly because they haven't done a good sale on it. The last winter sale, they did this scumbag move where they threw in a shark card into the deal, which also inflated the price to the point where it was about the same as the non-sale price, but it also revoked the ability to refund the game. So yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I always play the Grand Theft Auto games like 4 or 5 years after they came out.
Yeah. But everything I've heard is that they have not touched the single player component at all. There's not been a single bit of DLC. There's not been a single bit of content update. It's all been the GTA Online. When they eventually got around to Heist. Which
it took them a long time to do that too.
Yeah, it took them, well over a year?
Something like a year and a half, I think, after they said that Heists were going to come out.
Yeah, and that was really leading a lot of people on to support these microtransactions. Because that's what a lot of people I've heard say is buy the shark cards, not because you need the money, but to support Rockstar to keep developing GTA Online, which is still just so absurd to me.
Yeah.
It's Rockstar is not a charity case. You should not be buying. You should not be buying games in general because you want to support the dev only. You should also be buying the game because you want the game. In my opinion, at least.
We have a new
or at least on the AAA side. Indie games, it's kind of more of a gray area.
We have a new commandment.
Uh-oh.
Thou shalt not spend money on microtransactions in AAA games. That's just commanded. As it is written, it shall be carried out. New commandment right there. Because, I mean, you're right. Indie games, it can be tricky. You know, how much money are they asking for the game? What's the quality of the game? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Very gray when it comes to indie games. Free-to-play
because
games,
a lot of these indie companies are very small. A lot of them are either one-man or, let's say, under 10-man operations. So I could fully understand throwing money at an indie game.
Right.
But these AAA games, it drives me absolutely insane to see just all these microtransactions popping up, because you don't know how it is messing with the curve of the game. You don't know. Well, for GTA Online, I think we pretty much know that it did mess with how the progression worked.
It's completely destroyed the online economy in the game, to where that it's not
Well,
impossible.
also
but
their complete apathy with GTA Online for PC, where they or basically have the automated system that boots hackers eventually.
yeah,
But the thing is that if you're not going to have dedicated servers where the community self-polices, you need to have a really, really crack team of moderators and tech support to be watching the game. Otherwise, you are going to end up with a complete shitstorm.
yeah. Eventually, I'll buy Grand Theft Auto 5 and play it on PC. Probably around the time Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out.
Well, assuming they even make Grand Theft Auto 6, because in the article on Reddit, there was some interesting comments about it. Some people were talking about how, since this was so profitable for them, that they see the possibility that instead of a GTA 6, you see a Grand Theft Online 2. And that was an interesting thought. And one that is very scary for PC players.
I'll definitely never play that game.
Yeah, just because of how poorly they handled the online community on PC. And even the consoles aren't getting off scot-free. They have hacker problems as well. It's just PC, where it's the open platform, it's just so much easier when a company is completely apathetic about their product on that platform to just go nuts with it. And from what I understand, the way that they handled the online component, where it's peer-to-peer, and the client is completely trusted by the server that's doing all the routing, it's very easy to just modify a little bit of memory, and you suddenly have a gun that's shooting cars. And no, I'm not making that up. I've actually seen footage of guns that shoot cars. There was the insurance scam one that people were trolling with for quite a while. Have you ever seen that idea?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, where I should explain it anyway. Where people were literally taking their most expensive car that they had and tricking the game into thinking that a random person blew it up. And because of that, it literally took money out of their account and put it into yours. And here's the thing, is that because of these shark cards, that could be quite literally real theft, because that person may have paid real money for their virtual currency.
Right.
And, it's just gone. It's not like a premium currency in another, like a free play game, where it's the 2-tier currency system. You are literally buying the free currency in this case.
Right.
It's just so absurd to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to...
I really hate hating on Rockstar, but because I do enjoy quite a few of their games. But somebody has to call out the bullshit.
Yeah. I'm okay with like cosmetic stuff, cosmetic DLC.
Yeah, cosmetic DLC. Where the DLC that I really have a problem with is buying power and pay to cheat.
Right.
Those are the two. And also, skipping grind, like in GTA Online, is a very gray area for me. Just because of we don't know how it affected the design of the game. And you have no way to know. the developer could promise, oh no, it didn't affect the design at all. It was always going to be like this. It just, we wanted to add a incentive for casual players to be able to just jump right in, where they're just looking for the whales.
Well, I mean, we can't know for certain exactly how it has affected the design, but we can look and see what's happened to the market in GTA 5, which there's a stock market that you can invest in, and it takes a lot of money to do so and to get certain properties and that sort of thing.
It takes a lot of money to do anything in GTA Online.
It does.
If all the prices I've heard are accurate.
It takes a lot of money. And, I mean, people would have essentially rigged the stock market at this point. Like, they've had to... I don't know if they've done it once or twice, but Rockstar has went in and kind of reset and tweaked things because it got so out of control with people who had near limitless money
because they were
the
hacking.
stock market. Yeah. But, I mean, people have done the same thing with money that they've purchased like this. So...
Yeah, because they could buy a shit ton of free currency for... well, actually a shit ton of money as well, but the fact that you're able to just skip the absolute pittance that they give you for completing missions and completing races to just, get $100 million and invest it all in the market. That is a huge chunk of change. I'm not sure if it's $100 million for the top shark card or whatever it is, but I do know that it's a very, very large amount of money.
Right. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I wouldn't mind if they made $500 million in selling cosmetic DLC. That's fine. If they made $500 million from some kind of expansion content, mission packs, I don't know, whatever. I wouldn't be too bothered by it.
Yeah, maybe it's being a bit overdramatic, but just seeing that title made me feel a little ill. Not queasy, but just kind of ugh.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it just frustrates me that
this is the road we've taken.
Yeah, AAA developers whine and whine and whine. Oh, we can't survive without putting this into our games. We can't survive without these microtransactions. We can't.
Yeah, but also look at the marketing.
Well, I mean, they can't survive without this or that. But the thing is it's like indie games do it all the time. All the time. Stardew Valley has sold over 1 million copies.
Yeah, it hit 1 million copies in 2 months. Most of that by word of mouth.
And that game was designed by one dude. One dude. So the thing is that you don't need microtransactions to survive. You don't need DLC to survive or expansions or anything. All you need is to make a good game that people want to play, and you will sell a cajillion copies.
I'll throw out another example. A single-person development giving away a free game, and he gets, I want to say, like $30,000 or $40,000 a year in donations. Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah.
And that is an incredibly niche title.
Yeah.
And, it's all literally word of mouth. Now, not every game can survive word of mouth. I'm not saying that. But I think things have gone really, really, really out of hand with the marketing budgets, with how developers push game graphics to the point that they literally can't run at 60 FPS.
Yeah, game companies, AAA developers have been, and they've been doing this for the last several years now, probably the last decade. They spend an inordinate amount of money on marketing budget and an inordinate amount of money on stuff that it has been proven not to actually sell games. Graphical fidelity, even frame rate doesn't make that much of a difference to the average consumer. People just want a good game that they enjoy. And game devs spend so much money trying to make these games as beautiful as possible and trying to market them as much as possible. And it's like, if you spend half of your budget on marketing, of course, whenever you go back and look at the numbers, it's like, oh, we didn't really make that much money. It's like, yeah, you wasted
it's like the Square
millions of
Enix
dollars.
problem, where Lara Croft Well, sorry, where Tomb Raider sold how many millions of copies?
I think it was 6 million copies sold when they broke
And
even.
they called that, well, I think it was like 3 or 4 million at the point of one headline I saw, a disappointment.
Yeah. It's like, dude, 4 million copies is huge. Huge.
Yeah, to the point that Rise of the Tomb Raider actually had to take a exclusivity deal to try to get some more money in. And I'm going to say it, I think they completely and utterly fucked over their sales numbers because they went to one of the weakest consoles sales-wise. I'm not, well, also probably power-wise, but their first release was on the Xbox One, and the sales numbers were actually leaked, I think it was by EA, and there's only 20 million-ish Xbox Ones out there, which is not that huge a number. It does outsell the 360 at this point of its life cycle, but compared to the PlayStation 4, it's really not that great. And the PlayStation 4 version is still not out. It's not going to be out for another, 6-7 months?
Yeah, it's got a while left. I don't know how many months, but
And
a few.
there's absolutely no reason for it outside of screwing over PlayStation players to try to get them to convert to Xbox. That's literally the only reason for it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't take that much effort to code for one console compared to another. Because under the hood, they're not exactly the same, but they are close enough that it's not going to take them a year.
So I just did some back of the napkin math, so to speak, on Stardew Valley, and if Steam takes a 25% cut,
I think their cut's actually 30%.
okay, let's do some new math then. If Steam takes a 30% cut, this is before taxes, that one man made $10,500,000.
Yeah, but see, that's not $500 million.
No, it's not. But that's a big payday for one dude. I mean, granted, taxes will take out some of that. I don't know what tax brackets and all that works out. And I'm not sure what country the developer lives in, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, he will get at least 50% of that, which is $5.25 million. That's a...
Yeah, and this is also, I believe he worked on it for over the course of like 3 or 4 years. So
Yeah.
if you start breaking it down like that, it's still a stupid amount of money for a single developer.
That's still more than $1 million a year.
Yeah, and according to this, it hasn't really had a sale yet, so.
Yeah. I'm going to pick it up when it's on sale for like, I don't know, $10 or less.
Yeah, mostly because for me, it's not that I don't enjoy this type of game. It's just I have such a large backlog.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to ignore my backlog most of the time.
Well, let's put it this way. On Stardew Valley, I went to the Steam store. And because I have Steam Enhanced installed, it gives me the current player numbers. It has, right this second, 16,820 people playing.
Nice.
Which is 16,400 more than Evolve. Sorry.
Poor Evolve.
I can't do player numbers and not invoke Evolve, can I?
Nah, you can't. Okay.
Let's just put it this way. I type Evolve into Steam now, and it doesn't even come up in the search. I have to do the full search to... now I'm curious about the player numbers. Hang on. I'm finding them.
Of Evolve.
Oh, I was wrong. I was given the benefit of the doubt that they could break 100.
Uh-huh.
They're at 73 right now.
Man.
With today's peak being 268. They're more
Evolve.
dead than I thought they were.
Poor Evolve. Oh, well. So
our whipping boy's nearly dead.
Wah, wah.
We're going to have to find a new one.
Oh, there's plenty of them out there. So, are you ready to talk about KSP?
I think so. Let's move on to a topic that we could actually enjoy and not hate on for once. Well, not
too much?
Not completely, I should say. Because there are, one or two things.
Right. Well, okay. So KSP, their 1.1 release is now official, not.
In the pre-release build, which I would applaud them for doing this. I do think that doing it only for Steam users, even though I completely understand why, because Steam has the ability to do this, so it's not putting a big stress on to their side of things. I completely understand why they did it, but I still think it's not that cool to exclude a good chunk of your player base, because they did sell their game. Well, they still sell their game on their official store. And I'm not sure if you get I don't think you get a Steam key if you buy directly from them.
I don't think you do. I think you just get the normal install.
Yeah, you only get this. If I recall correctly, you only got the Steam key if you bought from them before the day that they went on Steam into the early access program, which they were very early in the early access program.
Yeah.
I think they weren't a launch title, but they were pretty quick onto it.
Yeah,
for
they were.
Good reason. I mean, let's put it this way. Right now, the last time I checked, they were number 2 on the top sellers list, because they also did a Steam sale with the launch of 1.1. Oh, no, they fell down to number 3. So the peak is probably over, and they're on the decline now. Which,
how the mighty have fallen from number 2 to number 3.
Which I don't even recognize as the game on number 2. It's some sort of weird fighting game. Of course, number 1 is Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, of course. KSP's got a 40% off sale right now. It goes through the 22nd, so it'll be over by the time you hear this. KSP. So I have not played the 1.1 non-pre-release. That came out today or yesterday.
It came out this afternoon. The 19th came out like mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
So I only got to play around with it a little bit before I had to basically go into podcasting mode and start hunting down news items, or try to, because it was a very light news week, and get my game face on.
Right, game face. Game face. Anyways, so what is different from the pre-release to the actual full release version?
Not a lot. It was mostly just bug fixing for a good chunk of it.
Well, that's good. I was afflicted by many bugs during the pre-release.
I didn't hit that many. I got the one where wheels would produce a lot of force when they landed, so it would cause things to explode.
I had that problem. Also, lots of my wheels just didn't work. They just refused to work.
Yeah, they have so many hacks trying to get the wheels to do what they want that I'm actually surprised that they are working as well as they do. I do think that they possibly pushed this out probably about a week or two too early, in my opinion, based on what other people have been talking about bug-wise, especially you and Amy from Kerbal Cast. Just having so many bugs.
Yeah,
I'm expecting them to do a lot of bug fixing patches in the next couple of weeks, and that'll probably be like the end of 1.1 until they start working on 1.2, and after they flop down from exhaustion.
Have you listened to this week's Kerbal Cast?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I couldn't do a Kerbal 101. The last pre-release update they did borked the game again for me, so I couldn't play. I just was like, I can't. I could BS through a Kerbal 101 and talk about some stuff, but it's like nobody wants to hear that. Everybody wants to hear about 1.1. It's like, well, I can't do one because I've got, I don't know, hardware compatibility issues or something.
And you saw, only thing I really got to do was I got to launch the the Bistrosity?
Yeah, that's what you call it, the Biftrosity. I liked, what was it that you said? Where you left like a dozen rocket boosters in orbit, and you're like, next time I wanted to do something.
It would make a good Kessel Bomb.
Yeah, Kessel Bomb. I like that. I wonder how many people actually know what that is.
It's just, I expected it to all come off in one chunk, and if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, look in my Twitter feed. Well, if you're also subscribed to Kerbalcast, because I was tweeting at them. They also retweeted the first one in the chain. So look over at Kerbalcast's Twitter, and you should be able to find it fairly easy. Just look for the absolutely huge rocket on the launch pad. I expected that to come off to one or maybe two chunks, and it come off, and it was in like 12 or 15.
Yeah.
And
It looked nice. It was a good screenshot.
Oh no, the hilarious thing
What?
was when I left the atmosphere, I started to tumble, and I was out of fuel in that stage, so I staged to try to get rid of some weight so I could actually try to turn around to make my maneuver node.
Yeah.
And when I did that lower stage, that debris cloud is in front of me. I had to fly through that to make my maneuver node.
Oh, nice. Because you were tumbling, so you dumped it
Yeah,
technically in front of you.
I basically did a backflip in the lower stage when I should have waited until I completed a full flip, but I didn't realize that it was I was flipping that much, and I was just trying to stabilize because it was it's a monster and it handles like a beached whale.
So kind of like how Biff handles in real life.
I wasn't going to go for the fat joke, but okay.
Absolutely have to go for the fat joke. So yeah, we should. I think we've mentioned. I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast before or not, but we want to get Biff to do like an interview with us or something, so that we can just talk about.
Yeah,
KSP.
we wanted to get him on for 1.1, but even if we were able to get him to agree to it, which, well, should we talk about that?
Sure, let's talk about it.
Yeah, he's kind of ignored the request from what I could tell.
Yeah. My best guess is he's just ignored them because he hasn't said anything to me about it.
Yeah, maybe he thinks it's a trap or something. Yeah, we're gonna kill him and wear his skin and go on Kerbal Cast.
Maybe we should. I'll send him an email this week instead of just doing like a public call out on Kerbal Cast. I'll send him an email and just be like, hey, now that 1.1's out, we'd love to have you either on the show or at least do a recording with you that we can put on the show as like an interview.
Yeah, we promise no chloroform will be involved.
We won't kidnap you. We won't be too mean.
Okay.
Because I'd love to talk shop with him.
Well, we also kind of started as sort of an offshoot of Kerbal Cast as well.
Yeah. I mean, he is the Podfather after all. That's how I'd introduce him. It'd be like, hello, I'm a gaming psychologist, and this is, I don't know, a funny nickname for Caffeine Rage and the Podfather. But
well, performance-wise, I should, getting back to the absolute monster.
Right.
Once I got into orbit, the remains was 219 parts, and the rest kind of fell back down to carbon because, for one, the thing didn't want to do a proper gravity turn, so I went pretty steep on my ascent.
Yeah,
And I also decided to burn further. It probably is a single stage to orbit if you're able to do a proper gravity turn, but oh, damn, is it tough.
Have you noticed, and since you built the Biffstrosity, it might not...
Oh, I didn't build it. I got the save file.
Okay.
I didn't build that thing.
But still, it might have been difficult to notice. Have they tweaked the aerodynamics so that gravity turns actually work properly now? Because in the pre-release, gravity turns did not work. It wanted to turn west as opposed to east.
When I was launching it, it went the normal gravity turn. I was able to nudge it eventually over a bit to the east, and it followed the path pretty much what I expected.
Yeah, we talked about that once. I don't know if it was on the podcast or if we were just talking, but I was, for some reason...
I was joking that that this planet was spinning so fast that it was flicking the end of your rocket so you're tumbling to the west.
Yeah, but no, I tried bunches of designs. I used the stock designs. I loaded some old designs that were compatible.
Pre-release as well, but I think they fixed it.
Okay.
If my one launch, of course that is a very, very small sample size, but it doesn't exactly have the greatest control, so any oddities like that would show up a lot easier with that craft.
Yeah. So, like I said, I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but I will be playing it this week. to see if I can bang out enough information for a halfway decent Kerbal 101.
Well, have you listened to Kerbalcast this week? Because Amy did have a suggestion.
No, I haven't listened to it yet. I usually...
should I go ahead and give you the suggestion from Amy?
Sure.
The differences in 1.1, which is what we're about to talk about.
Right.
Well, I should say the Bifstrosity second stage, which is 219 parts, on my computer was literally right at the cusp of where it started the time dilation. Yeah, it was still below what I would like frame rate wise, but it was actually not frame rate locked.
Okay.
But that's also in orbit. No atmosphere, no nothing. It's literally just on rails at that point.
Right.
But still, 219 parts on a craft in 1.0.5, that would have been a slideshow.
Yeah. Or potentially a crash.
Yeah. Well, definitely a crash eventually.
Yeah. I built in the pre-release, once I got the pre-release built, it wasn't broken. I got a 300-part craft to orbit, and the game didn't dip into the time dilation for me. I've got a stronger machine than you do, so that's probably part of it. But yeah, I didn't drop below 30 FPS, and I was very pleased.
Well, the big thing is the aerodynamics. If you're in the atmosphere, it's a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially once I hit about max Q, where the stresses on the craft were at its greatest. I'm going to say about 8,000 meters to 9,000 meters, that range.
Yeah.
My time dilation went from approximately 0.5 down to 0.1 or 0.2, where each second was taking me approximately somewhere in the order of 4.5 to 5.5 seconds. But once I got past that threshold and the aerodynamic forces started to dissipate, went right back up. It was just that one little band.
Yeah, it's actually fun to have the frame counter, my frame counter going, because it'll start out at the Space Center at around 30. You launch, and launching is when it's the worst, because you've got all the Space Center stuff, plus now you're adding the rocket physics and the actual graphics of the launch. And once you get past around 10 kilometers, you can watch the frame count slowly start to tick up.
Well, also being able to turn on the flight info so you can see exactly how much time dilation there is.
Yeah.
Is very handy.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if you noticed in the screenshots, but I had that on.
I didn't notice that on the screenshots. I mean, I just very quickly glanced at them.
If you open them up completely and look in the upper right-hand corner, you see the flight stats. And what you're looking for is the time ratio. You're going to look, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to look at yours. I mean, I run that on mine. I've actually got some recorded stuff that hasn't come up on the channel yet, but where I'm just running it for performance checks mostly.
No. I have a second thing running that's in the cheats that I don't think a lot of people know about.
No. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've got that running. And it shows your time dilation and some other performance stats.
Yeah, a lot of people were completely skipping just how important that time dilation stat is. I think Biff completely ignores it because he just focuses on the frame rate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I preface this, but yeah, I have not dipped into time dilation yet. I'm assuming my machine is just powerful enough to handle it. But
I should send you this file and see what happens.
Sure. I'd love to give it a shot. We'll see what happens.
And this is also the one that Amy was having trouble with, but I'm not sure if you saw the screenshots on that one on Kerbalcast's official Twitter. Boy, if anyone's playing the drinking game right now, they are hammered.
Yeah, between all the podcast call-outs and all kinds of outside stuff that's going on. Yeah, you're shit-faced by now.
I would say they're fucked.
Extremely.
Especially after my rant.
Yeah, no, I'm actually looking. Because before I just like scrolled through and I was like, oh,
like,
there's a menu there.
like,
There's a menu there, but like I liked all the pictures, but I didn't notice what menu it was.
yeah, I was using the debug menu.
Yeah.
It was literally I was using the graph, and then in the upper right hand corner was all the flight stats. It is impressive on just how much they improved the performance.
Yeah, I'm really happy with all the performance improvements. I mean, I said this multiple times leading up to the 1.1 pre-release, but I was like, I at this point am just happy with performance improvements, 64-bit, so that I can bring in all my mods and the game doesn't crash every 2 minutes and et cetera, et cetera. But honestly, I probably won't put very many mods back in. Kerbal Engineer, I miss D-Magic.
Oh, I'm going to go nuts. I'm warning you right now.
I'm sure I'll go nuts eventually, but for a while I probably will just play it pretty low key and just enjoy actually playing the game, as opposed to doing crazy mod stuff.
A lot of mods to update.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Waiting on all the mods to update. Oh, so, good old KSP. We'll probably talk about it next week too. Like once I've actually had a chance to play it.
Yeah. Let's talk quickly about what they actually changed, because the big thing is all the stuff under the hood, the 64-bit and better multi-threading.
Right.
Like the moment I decoupled the first stage and it split all the other parts into their own separate threads, I picked up so much performance. I wish I took a screenshot of it before and after, because I wasn't expecting it to split that many.
Yeah. I mean, it does great. Used to it was awfully choppy. I was running lots of de-hancers. I can't remember what the thing was called, but where that it like greatly reduced how much RAM the textures were using, so you could free up some of your processing power and your RAM for other things, and even that was still sketchy at best sometimes.
Yeah, it did some weird things at times. If you didn't run it right, it would completely screw up your toolbar.
Yeah, but now it's like, oh, everything's fine and dandy here.
I do hope that mod makers are still a bit frugal with how much memory they use, and they don't go completely nuts and have like all their sounds in WAV files and.
Yeah, I mean, there's still only so much RAM. I mean, the standard accepted amount is 8 gigs right now. I've got 16, and I know there's people out there with 32, 64, 128, but the higher you get, the less people that have that amount currently.
Well, granted, RAM is coming down big time in price right now.
Yeah, I mean, it does that.
Yeah, there was this giant bump when the consoles were coming out, so they were shifting their focus to console development.
Yeah.
And I bought my RAM right before the bump, and now it's about at the price I was paying when I built my computer 3.5-4 years ago.
Yeah. I've got 16 gigs of RAM, and I paid about $150 for it. I've got four gig sticks.
I paid, you're going to laugh at this. I paid $50 for 16 gigs, 2 8-gig strips.
Man, that's good. That's really good.
I got a incredible deal on my RAM. I set aside about $50 to $75 for RAM, and my motherboard actually came with an 8-gig stick, and I matched it. So I essentially doubled my RAM for the budget I had for RAM in the first place.
Do you have DDR2, 3, 4, or 5?
It was 3.
3, okay. Yeah, I've got 3 as well.
Yeah, it was pretty much the standard then. I think it still is pretty much the standard. There is DDR4 coming out now. Becoming more standard, I should say.
Yeah, 4. We're kind of in a transitionary period from 3 to 4, and then 5 is like the ultra high-end performance.
Yeah, 5 is still pretty much limited to video cards.
Yeah.
And I will say, and consoles, but consoles are a weird thing where the RAM is shared between the graphics and the RAM pool for the console's run cycles anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really count that way.
Well, most graphics cards though, once they use up their RAM, will start using your PC's RAM.
Yeah.
Instead
it's just so much slower.
Overflow. I mean, it's slower, but it's not that much slower. I'd like to make a scratch disk. I've considered buying a whole bunch of cheap RAM and making a scratch disk and playing stuff off of that. But that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and some investment that I really don't want to make. If I'm going to spend money on anything, the next thing is a better graphics card. But
yeah,
I have seriously considered making a scratch disk. Welcome to the PC, the PC technical portion of the podcast, brought to you by NVIDIA and different makers of RAM. There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, I guess I'm not allowed on this podcast then because I have an AMD rig.
Well, brought to you by NVIDIA and AMD. We whore ourselves out to the lowest bidder.
Probably the well, I would say probably about the only thing that they could agree on to work together with.
Yeah. So is now a good time to transition to Community Corner?
I think so, actually, unless you really have anything else to talk about. The update for non-mod users isn't exactly that great. The only big thing in it is really, well, they billboarded 3 things. The 64-bit, the KSpedia, which, honestly, I think YouTube tutorials are a bit better. Did you ever look at the KSpedia?
Yeah, I have looked at the KSpedia.
It's good for general knowledge, but I think for more in-depth stuff, you want Scott Manley.
Well, yeah. I don't really care for the KSpedia, not because it's bad, but it's just like, I know all of this stuff at this point, so...
Yeah, well, it's not meant for us, but
yeah.
Here's the thing.
Mods.
Mods. Not only just mods to improve the knowledge and make it more in-depth, because most of it is pretty much just basic rocketry knowledge, but also they opened it up where mods are able to add pages. So you're able to, let's say your Kerbal attachment system, instead of having a book that's an item, it could add to the KSpedia under Kerbal attachment system and have all the info there, which would be a lot easier to use.
Right. Which I will say, I do like the book as an item. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is hilarious to have it as a book, and I hope they do keep it. But having it in the KSpedia as well is a lot easier to understand, and mostly because of pictures. Very pretty and easy to understand.
Right.
And the other thing was, they overhauled the UI, which they made it look pretty much the same, except for little tweaks here and there.
Yeah, and then the quality of life, like being able to pen your right-click menus, and the fact that they no longer rotate with your craft and stuff like that. Which we've talked about that before, but
which required a mod to fix that before.
Yeah, so all that stuff is nice. I approve.
Yeah, well, here's the 3 things that they billboarded. All new interface, the KSpedia, and new tutorials and scenarios, which I honestly haven't touched yet. I completely forgot about those.
I've never touched any of the tutorials and scenarios.
I did play the tutorials when they first came out, so I may have to go look at those because I know that they added quite a few, and that may be something to go look at.
Yeah.
But once again, those pretty much what this update is for us is the 64-bit.
Yep, because they took out the remote tech light stuff, and
which I was really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to 1.2.
Yeah,
I know it's literally not even a day out, and we're already looking forward to 1.2.
Yeah,
but it shouldn't take a year and a half.
I hope not. I'm looking forward to that, but I mean, I still am happy with the performance improvements. I mean, if I want to go get remote tech, I can get remote tech, no problem. So.
Yeah, well, I was hoping more for remote tech being able to use their systems to improve itself, because remote tech is very hacky on how it does some things.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted it for. Anyway, community corner time.
Right, community corner time. And our first letter comes to
Yeah,
us.
we have no reading this week.
No reading, all
Well,
audio.
except for tweets.
Our first letter this week comes to us from Kyle, and this was actually for last week. If you remember...
He missed us by a day because we recorded early.
Right. But if you remember, 2 weeks ago now, we talked about the Oculus's terms of service, the end-user license agreement stuff, in kind of a roundup of all the disappointing things that were revolving around the Oculus launch. And we asked if someone could explain to us, from a law perspective, what was up with that, because we were pretty upset about the scummy tactics of, anything that you create belongs to us and you can't monetize it and we'll keep it.
Yeah, and we were kind of hoping that we were misreading that.
But Kyle is here to tell us that we weren't wrong. Here's Kyle.
Even though we wish we were.
Indeed.
Greetings, J. Arthur and Caffeine Rage. This is Kyle, and you had a request from your last episode, which I will gladly enlighten you on. You were asking about the EULA of the Oculus Rift and what it actually meant in plain English. Well, I took a little bit of pre-law, and then I also sent it away to my lawyer buddy, and essentially, yes, you are both very correct in what you were pulling from it. Basically, anything created while using the Oculus Rift, the parent company has complete control over how it is used, and you are not entitled to compensation. Now, yeah, that is exactly what you were saying. But the bigger question is why they might be doing this, and I can speculate from just experience around business people. So if we take a look at the modus operandi of how the Oculus Rift has been making money, it hasn't so much been from sales, and in fact, they aren't selling anything right now. You can't physically buy an Oculus Rift no matter how long you're willing to wait. Therefore, the parent company needs some income. So how are they to get income if they can't sell their product currently? So the answer to income is more than likely investors who are investing in futures against the EULA of just the Creative Commons within the Oculus Rift network, not to mention all of the personal data that can be gleaned by using the Oculus Rift, including head size, what you look at, how long you look at things. But more importantly, it's a way for the parent company to make money in the interim while they are not making any money off of their product. So how would this look in practice? Let's say I wanted to set up a company called Audible Chocolate Inc., just to have a little bone throw to the other podcast that I contribute to. And I wanted to make a game for the Oculus Rift, but I didn't want to put in any work. And a user who used the Oculus Rift made a game, and I want to make money off of that. Well, if I invest in Oculus Rift right now, I can use that EULA to go ahead and steal that work and not have to pay the creator or even acknowledge his creation as his creation. And that would be the incentive for me to invest now against a future where I can have unlimited access essentially to whatever properties I wanted to at the discretion of the parent company that produces the Oculus Rift. Now, obviously, the EULA could be subject to change in some sort of version update, where this is a bait and switch to try and get investors right now, while looking very unfriendly to the customers, and once they have the money from that, they could, in theory, switch back to a EULA that is more customer friendly. But I have one question to that: why would they switch back? My guess would be in order to pump up sales of the Oculus Rift, but again, they have no real reason to do this because of two things. Number one, you start looking at post facto clauses where the works that were borrowed from the original creators are still under no right to be recognized by those creators. Not to mention, this is much more friendly to corporate interests, which is one of the three pillars of corporation. A corporation will always do what is in its own best interest. So do I think about this? Well, I think it's scummy, and once people start realizing what is actually in this EULA, we might be able to push for some change, but realistically, the Oculus Rift is under no obligation to actually bend to what we want. The only real hope is that the invisible hand of the market would actually show them how stupid this whole endeavor actually is. But, yeah, anyways, that was a plain English look at what is in the Oculus Rift EULA. I hope that this has been enlightening, and I really look forward to hearing what y'all have to say about this.
All right, that was Kyle telling us about the legal system and the whatnots. As always, Rage is our official note taker.
Yeah, and the Agreeathon is about to start as well.
Yeah.
Because, I think this is what pretty much everyone is afraid of when the Rift was bought out by Facebook.
Yep. Is that they would do something like this. It's kind of like they signed their soul over to the devil, so to speak. Because they got the money that they needed. They got the publicity that they needed. But we knew, and everyone thought it was going to be ads, and it still, I suppose, could become ads or like...
Well, they have the metadata from all the stuff that you're doing.
Yeah, so it could be more browser ads. But, I mean, this is Facebook reaching in and going, okay, here's our piece. And I'm sure that they will get many interesting and wonderfully creative ideas, at least before people wise up to what this actually means. Because, I mean, let's be honest, how many people actually read the terms of service to something that they're using? You know, a show of hands. What's that? No hands? Of course.
Oh, does it count if I have to scroll down before I hit next?
That doesn't count, unless you actually read it as you scroll down.
Well, I'll read a couple words.
You got to read the whole thing.
Ah, damn.
I actually tried one time to read a terms of service.
I don't think it's actually physically possible to read the terms of service for every single piece of software that you use.
No, you would spend a lifetime reading the terms of service. And I mean, honestly, for most people, it doesn't apply. It doesn't matter. Like all of the stuff that they put in terms of service, it's like, yeah, whatever. I paid for my software.
Yeah, it's to cover their ass.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I paid for my software. I want to use it. But on something like the Oculus or other certain programs, it's like that's actually pretty bad for them because they won't. Just like as an example, somebody gets this thing, they get an idea of a program they can create to run inside of VR, or they get an idea for an application they can use it for, like, I don't know, in the medical field or something, and they spend some time working on it and they develop this thing, and Facebook notices that, there's this thing that's been created. It was created using an Oculus or for an Oculus, and they're like, oh, that's ours. And then this kid is just like devastated. This passion project he had is not his anymore. And then he realizes, oh, that was in the terms of service. And I mean, that sounds like a sob story. It's like, oh, that'll never happen to anyone, but it will. In 6 months, a year, there will be a court case where someone is trying to get their passion project back because they lost it because they didn't read the terms of service. They didn't realize what all that meant.
Well, something else I'm thinking of is as I'm going through all the review stuff that's coming out, I see so many art projects, where you can paint or, sculpt or do stuff like that. Right. That also applies, doesn't it?
I think it does because it's created using essentially a program developed for the Oculus.
So, these virtual sculptures, the 3D models for them, in theory, can be just ripped out and used. Assuming we're reading this right, and I'm sure Kyle will correct us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
But, this could be like an asset bank for just content creators that are signed on to Facebook, that sold their soul.
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, that's not such a bad thing, I have never been opposed to people using pre-made, pre-built, pre-designed, whatever, assets for games or really projects of any kind. I mean, I'm not an artist. If I actually tried to make something, it would look terrible. I use stuff that you have made for me over the last few months for pretty much everything at this point because you're pretty good at it.
Well, I noticed you changed your Twitter avatar to my prototype that I was using for our Patreon.
Yeah, I liked it. And then the gaming psychologist banner that you made just for funsies, I thought that was really good looking. And so now that's my YouTube banner and my my Twitter banner.
Yeah, I know a lot of stuff that I use or that I create is just pre-made stuff, and I'm able to manipulate it. So it's sort of the same idea. So I completely understand, and I kind of agree with the idea of having asset stores, but the way that it could potentially go where the original people aren't paid off for their work being used, that's where I disagree.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, this could work out. Like Kyle was saying, they could change the terms of service, or there could be,
Yeah, that it could be a bait and switch to try to get investors,
right.
which honestly, I don't think they would do that because they're screwing over their investors. And you don't get far in the corporate world by screwing over your investors.
Yeah, that's short-term gain, long-term loss. They get the money up front, then they make their investors mad and they leave, and then they don't have that money anymore. So
Yeah,
I can't imagine them doing that. I suppose they could, but
yeah, there
I don't
was
think they would.
article that was on the docket for this week that we chose not to really dive into, partly just because it was going to be rehashing things once again. But I think it's kind of relevant here is that there is a hack to get the Oculus first party or exclusive titles to work on the Vive.
Right.
And the tone that they use saying that we do not condone this hack and that it will be broken later on. Yeah, I realize that they're saying that this workaround will not always work, that you shouldn't be buying games like this. But the tone that they're using with their users is just so cold. Talking about how it's instead of talking about how it may not work, acting like we're violating them. We do not condone this action.
Right.
Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. But it's that soulless, faceless corporation idea where once you get past a certain point in size, unless you work actively to keep your mind on your consumer base and work for them, it is very, very easy to just, lose yourself and go after the dollar signs. Not to pick on someone completely at random, but like EA. Originally, they were a group of artists wanting to create video games. And now look where they are.
Yes, indeed. So, I hope that we've had an interesting discussion, Kyle, but, we mostly agree with you. Maybe we kind of flushed it out a little more, but I don't really know if there's anything else to say.
Yeah, or said something wrong enough that you would be able to write in again for it.
Yeah, I suppose. You could always just write about something else, though.
Yeah, true.
We'll accept your writings on anything.
Well, we did talk about KSP this week, so maybe he'll write in about that.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
But he already has another podcast that he does that for.
That's true. But it would still be fun to have some more KSP talk.
Yeah, especially since we started our team over KSP.
Yeah.
It's kind of like getting back to our roots.
Taking just a moment to reflect on our past, where we've come from.
That and picking on Evolve.
Yeah, that too. Okie dokie. So that brings us to our next letter, which comes to us from our good buddy Ghost Shark.
Gentlemen, how goes it today? I know I'm getting this one in just under the wire, so I will try to make it quick for my sake, because I'm in my car studio again, and it looks like it's about ready to start raining, and I don't know what that's going to do with the audio. So, just to let you know a few things, still no XCOM playthrough or any other streaming like I'm wanting to start doing because the computer's still dead. The motherboard got RMA'd. It came back to me saying there's no problems. I tried putting it back together. It's still not working. So next step is the processor. I'm trying to get a hold of Intel and see what they can say about their product now. So you guys had mentioned a few episodes ago about your legacy, I guess, growing up, what your first systems were, gaming-wise. My first gaming memories were on a Commodore 64, playing such classics like Dig Dug, Pac-Man, Afterburner, and a little game that I don't even know if it would stack up to the amount of hype that I have for it from back in the day. A little game called Raid Moscow. I don't know what it was. It was just a bunch of little mini games. Is all the thing really was. But for some reason, I just couldn't stop playing it when I was a kid. Um, Nintendos were the next things I had. Well, basically the only thing I had. The original system and Game Boy, up until I went into the military, or just before I went to the military. After that, it was PlayStation 2s, up until the Xbox, and I've been a Microsoft guy ever since. So, what else? Macs, actually. That's always kind of been the computer thread, counter to my console gaming. As growing up, my parents were both big into graphics design and word processing, all that kind of stuff, and to them, everything they did was Macintosh based. So growing up, I was a Mac gamer as well. It wasn't until I got about halfway through high school and was able to scrape enough money for my first PC that I switched over to that, knowing that if I wanted to be a gamer, I'd had to have a PC. So, let's see, what else? Throwing in my little 2 cents worth on the whole Tracer Butt fiasco, I'm kind of ambivalent one way or the other on how it all went down and what happened. If my kind of question is the timing of it. On the one hand, yeah, if one guy's offended, whatever, that was the only outcry against, everybody else being, saying that they should not have caved to the one person. I think that if they were on the fence about changing the pose or, whatever, that if that was their decision to begin with, then cool. I feel that the timing was very badly planned, to change it as soon as one person came up with a problem. I feel that had they come out and said, we'll take it into consideration, and then maybe a couple weeks later make a big deal of, hey, we're going to change a few things. It's been on the back burner for a while, and we're finally going to do it. I think that might have caused a little less of a stir than it did. But I don't know. It's just kind of my personal opinion on it. I'm all for the creative license and, the ability for the developers and everything to do what they feel they need to do. And if they were already debating on changing some of the poses or some of the other things in the game, then good on them. But like I said, to make it look like they basically made it look like the one person just took down the entire, or spearheaded this entire movement, or he was the entire movement, and they caved to him. So I don't know. That's still, I don't know. It's kind of a sticky situation, and one that, for me, trying to throw this audio letter together last minute is something that I don't know. I'm not really forming words all that well, so I guess I will go ahead and call it and try and get this sent out to you before you start recording. So, till next time. Later, guys.
Alrighty, that was Ghost Shark with an audio letter this week. And let me tell you about it. Your car studio does a good job. I mean, it's nice and quiet, not a lot of background noise. You said it was starting to rain. I thought I might have heard a few raindrops fall in the middle there, but
yeah, but it sounded really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still rough about your motherboard or processor or whatever the hell's wrong.
Yeah, I hope your PC gets well soon. We miss you. We want to play Tabletop Simulator. You can play X-Wing on Tabletop Simulator. It's got like 1,200 pieces, but you can play it. It's really scary.
Yeah, why do I have a feeling that he's going to drag one of us into it? Because I think it's a 1v1 game.
I would play. I would totally play.
I wouldn't mind learning. It's just, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but that never stopped me before.
I've played before, but it's been a long time, and there's been new rules that have come out since then. So I'd practically be learning again.
Now, question: every time you move, are you required to do the spaceship sounds, or is that just for fun?
You're required. If you don't do the spaceship sounds, it's a penalty.
And of course, having John Williams on loop in the background.
Absolutely. I mean, really, that's just how you get through every day of your life, is with John Williams on loop. And making spaceship sounds, if we're honest. I know that's what I do. So anyways, Ghost Shark discussed a great many things.
First his computer problems. Then he went into his legacy, and he's a little bit more of an old school gamer than me. I never really had the Commodore.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I remember my aunt had one, and playing a little bit on it, but I don't remember much about it.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, he's in his 30s also.
We could yell at kids on our lawns together.
Yeah, you two can. I'll be the kid on your lawn.
Yeah, or then we could go to the local play and heckle from the balcony.
Oh, I do that already. Good reference, by the way. Good reference.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you got that one or not.
I did, but I've actually done that before. Gone to local plays and heckle. It's fun. Anyways, yeah. Nice old school collection there. Yeah, nice collection. I mean, you've got a lot of stuff that I've never touched, so I mean, it's cool that you've got it, but I'm like, I don't have any experience with that, so I can't really say much more.
Yeah, I played Dig Dug and Pac-Man, of course. The others I haven't played. Of course, I played on the Nintendo and the old gray brick Game Boy. Oh, I miss that thing. I think I still have it. It's just, it's a game system that you really don't go back to.
I barely remember it. Barely.
Old Game Boys don't die. They literally can't die. You can beat someone to death with them and they still work. There's actually in the I think it's in the Nintendo Museum.
It's in some gaming museum somewhere. One that survived was an explosion in Iraq.
Yeah. And the case is completely charred, but the screen is still working perfectly.
Yeah.
The things are built like a tank.
I beat Pokemon Blue because I had Red and Blue. I think I beat Blue on my original Game Boy when I was a little kid. And then I got a Game Boy Color, and I got Pokemon Yellow, and there was actual color in it. And I was like, wow, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Why is this rat following me?
And look where we've came from then.
Yeah, I still have my copy of Pokemon Blue. I'll never fire it up again because by now the battery's dead in it. So, my complete collection in it are long gone. But, I like to pretend that they're still there.
Buried in a box somewhere in my house is an old, like an original Nintendo DS, a Game Boy Advance SP, and a stack of old games. And Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow are in them. And the batteries in the games, aren't they CMOS batteries?
They're little watch batteries.
Yeah, they're probably long dead by now.
Yeah, I think actually the second generation games, Gold and Silver, there were people talking about several years ago how this is about the point where most of the cartridges are dead. So yeah, even Gold and Silver are gone.
Yep, which is sad.
Gold and Silver also had a shorter lifespan on their battery just because they were running a clock 24/7.
Right.
So maybe some of the older cartridges, by some miracle, are still working. But if you want to keep your collection of old Pokemon, you're going to have to look into swapping the battery out while the thing is powered. By the way.
Yeah, if you don't want to lose your data, if you want to start over, you can just swap the battery and start over.
Or just wait.
Yeah.
Then your save file is completely gone.
Yeah, I mean, you could just wait and pretend that it's still there. And just never play it, and it will always be there. It'll be like Schrodinger's save. Anyways, what was next in his letter, Mr. Note Taker?
Well, then we got onto Tracer's ass because Just like her ass, this topic won't quit.
Aw, yeah, I see what you did there. Wink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree that an artist.
The timing is... Well, I agree with this, that the timing is very suspect on this entire thing.
Yeah, the timing is the biggest issue. I think that if it was, I agree that artists have the right to make changes to their creative vision, to self-censor, to, change their mind, etc., etc., etc. But the timing is what makes it so suspect, like you just said. And I'm like, nah, yeah, I don't. If that's the case, you did a really crappy job conveying it. So that doesn't seem like the case at all.
Yeah, I'm going to get into a tinfoil hat territory here.
Again?
It almost feels like Blizzard set this up to have some sort of viral PR for Overwatch because it went completely nuts.
Yeah, and that was just before the beta release, too, the open beta.
Yeah.
Like a week or two before. It's possible. I mean, I'm not going to say, that they wouldn't do that, but...
Yeah, just because it is literally one guy.
Well, Blizzard is huge, though, so I don't know. I can see it going either way in that respect.
Well, here's the thing also, is that it was literally one guy, and that was about all that he posted.
Yeah.
And granted, I haven't gone back to check, but literally it was, at the time we talked about Tracer's ass. Oh, sorry. Couldn't help myself with that one. At the time we talked about that subject, that was literally all he posted about was that additional post and just, fanning the flames. And it's just so weird to have that.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it, but I don't think that they did that.
Yeah, maybe it's just I'm more critical of Blizzard now, especially after some of the stuff that they pulled in the last few weeks.
That's fair. That could be that makes sense.
And the fact that Blizzard is really good about not listening to their customers.
Yeah, for sure. So what comes next?
Well, we had some tweets.
So that was the end of Ghost Shark's letter.
Yeah, just about. Unless I'm missing something.
Okay.
Yeah. He talked about how devs have the right to self-censor, but it was just being suspect. Unless I missed something in his letter. If I did, I'm sorry.
Yep. I'm not going back to listen to it at this point. All right. Thanks for the letter, Ghost Shark. I hope you can survive this horrible treatment from us and continue to contribute in the future. We do love you. We just want you to stop playing X-Wing so much and come back and play games with us.
Yeah, so we could kill you there.
All right. Tweets.
Yeah, you need to play King of Tokyo.
Yeah, you need to play King of Tokyo with us. Is it time for the tweets?
Yep.
All right.
I know you're not going to get me to sing.
No. Time for the tweets. Tweets. Time for the tweets. And if I wasn't lazy, I'd go steal their old soundbite, but I'm not going to do that.
Okay, well, Supe has quite a few tweets here.
Supe!
But I have a couple that's breaking up Supe's stuff. He was watching a video about Star Citizen and felt that there was a bit of Peter Molyneux. Felt a little Peter Molyneux seeping into the description, particularly around the 130 mark onward. They were talking about how, see that mountain over there? You could walk over there. Or see that moon? You could take off and fly to it. And I completely agree with them. It was a mixture of Peter Molyneux and E3 from either last year or year before, where literally every major dev was talking about, see that mountain? You could go over there. The Zelda show that they were talking about, how it being more open world, was rife with this.
Right, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yeah, in the E3 stuff, and that's just quietly gone away.
Yeah. That's one thing I kind of noticed is that it seems like all the major devs follow like this one train of thought for about a year, then they all derail and go on to another train of thought, and it's like synchronized.
Yeah.
There was a segment on Zero Punctuation at one point where Yahtzee was talking about AAA development creativity, and how it'll take an indie dev to do something weird for all the AAA developers to do it. And then they'll stop and do something else following another indie developer.
Yeah. I've seen that before, or I remember hearing that before.
I don't remember which one of his reviews it was, though, unfortunately.
I don't either. He's got a lot.
Yeah. A lot of good stuff. Go find it.
Yeah, go find it, audience.
Yeah, there's only, 150, 200 of them?
He's got a bunch, yeah.
Let's put it this way. One of his first ones was about the Orange Box, and can't wait to do Half-Life 2 Episode 3 at the time, which has evolved to Half-Life Episode 3, and, well, I'm not playing it yet. What about you? Do you have it?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, damn it.
It's great. I'll
So that's
see
where it went.
I'll see if I can get the dev to give you a copy. Oh, okay.
Okay, well, Million Lights chimes in. I haven't listened to the podcast yet. Well, hopefully he has by now. But you made me want to watch You made me watch the Hardcore Henry trailer. Now I really want a VR device so badly. Thanks.
Nice. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, I still want to go. I want to go see Hardcore Henry again, but I haven't got a chance to. I probably won't, sadly. But that's okay. I'll just watch it a million times when it releases.
Yeah, do you think your motion sickness will be better on a smaller screen?
I think it would be a lot better on a smaller screen. We'll see for sure when it comes out, but I'm pretty sure it would be better on a smaller screen. And if I could have some light in the room.
Yeah, having a dark theater, while nice for projection, probably isn't that great for your motion sickness.
No, definitely not.
So let's see, Kyle, whenever you two start getting tender with one other on air, I can't help but think of the sexy party joke from Family Guy.
I'm not familiar with that, to be honest. I've seen plenty of Family Guy, but I don't... Either I've never seen that, or
It's
I
one
don't
of the few things
it.
that actually made me laugh in Family Guy. I do not care for Family Guy.
That's fair.
It feels more like joke salad.
Joke salad. Okay.
Yeah, where Peter says, "Oh, it reminds me of blank time. I did something with blank."
Right.
And then they cut to a joke, and then they come back. It's the manatee jokes. If you've watched the South Park episode where they were making fun of Family Guy.
I think I've seen that one. I'm not sure. I've not seen very many South Park episodes either. I'm not a big fan of South Park.
I prefer South Park to Family Guy.
I don't find it like offensive or anything. I just don't find South Park funny, and so I don't watch it.
A lot of it is more commentary than anything else, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a few episodes that have been okay, but...
Well, the South Park was making fun of their non sequiturs, saying that the jokes are written by manatees that are just swimming around in a tank, grabbing random balls and dropping them into a trough to make the joke.
So that's a commentary on the million monkeys with a million typewriters.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, essentially.
That's pretty cool, actually. I like that. I probably should go back and try watching South Park again. I haven't seen any South Park in a couple of years.
Well, the last season, they went heavy onto making fun of SJWs.
Nice. I totally should go watch it then. I'm in. I'm all in. I'll go watch some South Park later. Well, I'll put it on the list. Okay, so this is a hard cut, guys. We got way off topic down the anime rabbit hole, which all of that is going to be part of the Franken episode, which will be either a bonus or put in place whenever we have to miss for something. So you'll get to hear us discuss anime for 20, 30 minutes?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So apologies for the hard cut, but here we are. We're back on track.
For once.
For a few minutes only.
Yeah, okay. Well, Soup Bay is back for the last 3 tweets. He said he found a reason for you guys to get a VR headset. VR porn. Which with how Oculus goes, they'll not only know what you're looking at, but how you're jerking it.
Oh yeah. That reminds me of the Internet is for Porn song.
So just grab your dick and double click.
Oh yeah. I I don't know. I wondered how you were going to respond to that, and that was the perfect response.
The fact that I know that song.
Well, I mean, everybody knows that song.
Okay, and now Supe is in trouble.
Uh-oh.
He's about to break the first rule of VGL and Linux gaming.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw me tweet this at him, but I tweeted a picture of someone getting hit with a newspaper.
I think I saw that, but I don't remember what his tweet was. I'm guessing, though, when you said he broke the first rule, that means he pre-ordered something.
Well, he said he's about to. He says it's a Paradox game, though. They're consistently good and support Linux so well. Pretty much the only company I pre-order from. So I think I know the exact game he's talking about. The Space 4X, which I will admit looks damn good, but maybe I'm just so cynical these days because I've been burned so many times. And well, I shouldn't even say burned so many times just because I don't pre-order. I've seen companies put out something that looks pretty, but doesn't play that great. And the thing is that companies are very easy to bank their good reputation. I mean, once again, look at EA. Right?
Yep. Thou shalt not pre-order. That's all I have to say.
Other words, spanking time.
Well, actually, thou shalt not pre-order unless thou wanteth the amazing physical thing that cometh with the pre-order. But that's too long, so we're just going to shorten it to thou shalt not pre-order. That's all I have to say about that.
Okay, and that finally wraps up things after a massive cut.
Alrighty. So that means it's time for us to move on to our weekly recommendations, and I'm excited.
Oh boy.
I'm excited. How many do you have?
I have 2.
I also have 2. You can go first.
Okay, well, here's a game that I've actually played. Well,
Okay.
actually, both of these I played, but this one I played to completion. It's called Betrayer.
Betrayer. Not one that I'm familiar with, so let me look that up on Steam while you
This
talk.
is, well, if you want to see video of it, it's on my YouTube channel, Gaming with Caffeine Rage.
Ding. We've been doing our dings. We've made several.
Yeah, which we should also throw in that if you wish to email us at vglpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at vglpodcast. Have it actually near the email section as well.
This looks interesting. The screenshots on the Steam
Yeah,
page.
yeah. The most striking thing about this is the art style, but it's not like Stone Tales, where it actually has some good gameplay on it as well. It is a first-person. The Steam tags have it listed as horror, and I kind of agree with it, but at the same time, I don't, because a lot of it is more suspense than actual horror. And you do have an option, by the way. If you're looking at the screenshots and seeing all the black and white and red, you do have an option to go full color if you wish. But honestly, I think it's more striking to have the black and white and red. Like Sin City, was it? That the movie that was somewhat modern and did that same art style?
Yeah, it's very noir, the black, white, and red.
Well, anyway,
I like
storyline. The storyline of it is that you are wake up on the Virginia coastline in 1604. Literally, the very beginning of the Virginia colonies. And you have no idea really what happened. And Spanish conquistadors are basically taking over the different colonies. And has a lot of supernatural elements. And I will say that the storyline isn't exactly its strong point. It has like mini arcs in it where you'll get to one colony and you'll figure out what happened there and all the different little stories there. Then move on to the next. And there is an overarching story, but it's not nearly as strong as the individual colonies are. But it is still a really good time. There's stealth combat, which you can fight the conquistadors and all the skeletons and stuff head on. But it's not exactly wise to do so because they do hurt. So a lot of time you're sneaking around and just trying to pick them off one at a time, or just going around them a lot of times as well. It is a fun time, though. I spent quite a few hours getting through it. It's not a exactly short game, but it doesn't overstay its welcome either. The ending, I won't spoil it for you, but it's kind of a mindfuck.
You were dead the whole time.
Not quite that big, but it's an interesting one.
Yeah, it does look very interesting. And watching like in the trailers that they have on there, the difference in the gameplay when you're in the kind of noir style versus the full color.
Well, here's the thing: is that you have the option to go between them to change the style completely. It's not you're going between. You do go between like a shadow world and the real world.
Yeah.
But that's the color option is completely under your control. If you want this to be full color, you could do it, or you could also do the muted colors like some of the screenshots do as well. Which was actually how I played it. Was very, very muted colors, except for red being very bright.
Did you play through the whole game on your channel? Like, is this older content?
Yeah, I played through the entire game.
Okay.
So if you want to see the mindfuck ending, it is on my channel.
I will check that out later. All right, your second game?
Well, I should say the price of this. It's normally $9.99, but it is 70% off, bringing it down to $2.99, and I think it's well worth that price. I did get it originally as a bundle, and there is a bundle ongoing for this right now, but I'm not sure if it's still going to be ongoing by the time this goes out. So that's while I'm not going to promote it that much, it is part of the Bundle Stars FPS Heroes bundle, which is also $2.99. So if you're going to buy it there because you get a lot more stuff.
Okay.
But I won't link to it just because it may be over by the time this podcast goes live.
Okay.
And you're quickly going there to get it, aren't you?
No, not right now. I've added it to my wish list. And I'll.
Yeah, but
I'll
what isn't on your wish list? Oh, outside of this game, of course.
Lots of stuff. There's more not on my wish list than there is on my wish list, but there's still plenty on my wish list.
Okay, my second game is a puzzle game by the name of Contraption Maker. This is a Rube Goldberg puzzle game. Not a lot to talk about on this one, just because it is a puzzle game, and I will say that it's a lot better than some of them that are on Steam. For one, the physics are consistent, which for some games is kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
But it has a cutesy art style, and the puzzles, while they appear complex, the thing is that these Rube Goldberg-like puzzle games, they usually give you a handful of parts and tell you to figure it out. So, in essence, you're not trying to build the entire contraption. You can if you want to. There is a sandbox mode. But you're given the parts to basically finish the already worked on contraption.
What did you say the name of the game was again?
Contraption Maker.
Okay. Continue.
But you're not trying to figure out how to build the machine. You're trying to figure out how it works and essentially finish it.
Right.
And something interesting about this one is that it does have workshop support. So you do have the Steam community throwing levels out there as well. And there's a subdivision of that called Toys, where it's literally completed stuff that you could just toy around with. But as of recording, there are 5,276 items on the Steam Workshop for this game.
Nice. That's a good collection.
Yeah, of varying quality, of course.
Well, yeah, but if even only 10% of it was good, that would still be. You said 5,000?
Yeah.
So it'd still be 500 good items, or little good little bits of content. So that's good. Somebody who likes that could get a lot out of that game.
Yeah, and the base game itself has over 200 puzzles of varying levels of difficulty. The easy ones are just brain dead easy. It's literally just like 2 or 3 parts missing. The hard ones are where things get a little absurd. You're given like a dozen parts and trying to figure it out. And sometimes the puzzles have multiple solutions, sometimes they don't. Usually on these games, you are given a task. Get item A to area B, or prevent something from happening, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So there are multiple solutions for some puzzles, but not others. So if you like being able to figure out your own answer, this may not be the game for you, but you may enjoy it in sandbox mode instead. So it may still be the game for you. And this is also a weird one that's on sale because it is normally $6.99, but it's 85% off, which brings it down to $1.04. But the weird thing is that you get 2 copies of the game because it does have a multiplayer mode where you're able to collaboratively build in the sandbox. Unfortunately, it doesn't have it in the puzzle mode. And I'm pretty sure that the game is no longer under development, so I don't think that is coming. If it does, I would actually be surprised. So do not buy it if you're looking for competitive or cooperative puzzle solving like Portal 2 has. But if you want to just, goof around in the sandbox mode with a friend, it's pretty good. Or you can just, give the extra copy to a friend.
Yeah, it looks like its last update was from last December. So that's been, 4 or 5 months ago? Yeah, so not necessarily dead, but not, at the very least, not receiving much content.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of the old game, The Incredible Machine, this is probably about as close as you're going to get, at least for the time being.
Alrighty. My turn?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. My first game is, surprise, surprise, a space RTS, Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion. Currently on sale, 75% off. Normally $45. Now it's $11.25. And that's a little bit steeper than games that I usually recommend. I like to find games that are less than $10. And the cheaper the better. But Sins of a Solar Empire is great. I remember buying the original many years ago on DVD and playing it on my old PC. And it's a really solid space RTS that incorporates some 4X management things, but without making it too management-y. Making it more about the combat and your entire fleet composition. But they've got neat stuff too, like in essence they're hero units, but basically they're kind of specific special ships that you can research and get that have special abilities. And Rebellion is probably, I don't know, there's several different versions of Sins of a Solar Empire. Rebellion is definitely better than the original, and then there's some dispute on whether or not Rebellion is better than Trinity or not. But regardless, Rebellion is good. So if you like Space RTS and for some reason you don't already own Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, honestly, it's worth the normal $45, but $11.25 for this game is an absolute steal.
Yeah, this is weird. It's actually the game and soundtrack bundle is what I'm seeing on sale.
Yeah, the bundle is what's on sale. Although the game is on sale, like it's at the sale price of $11.24 on the other bundles that it's included in. So the game itself is, I think the game is on sale for that price, and they're just pitching in the soundtrack.
Yeah.
If you buy it, so it's a good game. I would recommend it. I've played.
Yeah, it's actually on my wish list to pick up someday.
Yeah, same here to actually get the Steam version. Like I said, I've played the old school version when it was still on disc, but I'd love to play it some more sometime. And Sins of Solar Empire does have pretty regular sales, but I don't. Maybe at some point in the past it's dropped below $10, but I don't have a memory of that here recently. I mean, it's just a solid game that sells.
Take a look, see if I'm seeing if Steam Enhanced has any info on it, but it's not coming up for me, which it's probably because it has so many oddball collections on here, because it's by Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion, the 4-pack. The game pack / soundtrack bundle, which is what is on sale, the Ultimate Edition, which is it and all the DLC, and then the Stardock bundle, which is pretty much all the Stardock games.
Yeah, looks like it was free on GOG at one point, but outside of that,
yeah, and I think GOG's copies went out pretty quickly because I didn't get a copy of it, and I'm pretty good about getting stuff from GOG.
Yeah, so. It's totally worth it. Totally worth it if you're into this sort of game. So my second game... Are you ready?
I've already looked at it.
Have you? Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't look at the list. Yeah, my second game...
Well, I had to go get the link for the first one because I'm too lazy to type.
Yeah, I understand. So my second game is Sakura Angels, which is some nice anime-style visual novel, big boobies.
Huge tracts of land.
Huge. The Sakura games, or the Sakura visual novels...
are banned on Twitch.
They are banned on Twitch. They're actually really good visual novels. They have good storylines and fun little elements to them, and they do give you some choice as the player, some action you can take, but mostly they just bring you along for the ride with their really nice art design and their fan servicey nature. So if you're looking for, if you've been interested in visual novels before, but you go look at them on Steam and you're like, holy crap, $20 for this game? It's just a visual novel. Here's your jumping off point. I picked Sakura Angels because it is I believe the first one that they released on Steam, so it's kind of a chronological company development thing. But, I mean, they have several Sakura games that are on sale right now. So, if you want to...
and don't look at the Steam reviews because they are unhelpful.
What are the Steam reviews? I mean, it says they're very positive, but... Oh, F12 Simulator. Sakura
Best
Angels...
stealth game from life. Now I have to hide from my dad. He knows too much. 10 out of 10.
Played Alone in the Dark. Roses are red, violets are blue. I came. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, Steam reviews are completely useless once they get past a certain point.
Yeah, but as far as visual novels go, it's a good one. So if you've wanted to get into them, if you want to see some anime boobies, that's where you go. Sakura. Except for Sakura Clicker, stay away from that. It's garbage. So yeah,
sounds like you have some first-hand experience.
I have played Sakura Clicker. I was hoping for more. It's just annoying. And I'm okay with clicker games. Like, they can be fun or, silly or have some kind of a shtick that makes them interesting. Sakura Clicker is just annoying. I guess they thought it would be sexy to have, like, the same 3 girl moans for every click. So every time you click on a girl, which are sexy anime girls are what you fight. And every time you click on them, they, oh, which I guess they thought was sexy, but really it's just annoying because there's only like 3 or 4. So it's like you're clicking as fast as you can, and it's just like the same 4 moans over and over and over and over and over and over again.
It's like that. It's like a soundtrack that loops too quickly.
Yes. So.
Only without the screeching monkeys.
Well, I mean, the moans might as well have been screeching monkeys. I was ready to murder the girls.
Well, isn't it the point?
Fair enough, but...
It's incentive
to click harder. But yeah, those are my games for the week. Buy the Sakura games. Buy them. Buy them all. I want more anime boobies. So are we now time for the wrapping up the show portion of the show?
Yeah, I believe so, unless you want to talk about anime for another 45 minutes.
Nah, I'm good. Even though it's not on sale, go buy Sakura Santa. That one's not on sale, but it's worth it. You want to see?
Because of all the ho-ho-hos?
Oh, yeah. You want to see sexy anime Mrs. Claus? That's where you go. Sakura Santa.
Oh, I'm sure I could dig and find sexy anime Mrs. Claus.
There's a cat girl in Sakura Santa. There's also a cat girl in Sakura Spirit. There's a few cat girls, actually. And then Sakura Swim Club. That one's pretty obvious. Sakura Fantasy. You want anime girls that remind you of all of the people from Skyrim? Go play that. That one's on sale.
So even though I'm not sure if I want to know, what are you doing this week?
Well, I'll be putting lots of videos on my YouTube channel of half-naked girls.
Because they can't go on Twitch.
That's right. Or maybe entirely naked girls. We'll see. But no, I do have several videos scheduled for the YouTube channel. All of the... I've got my channel open, so let's just go look. I'm trying to make it a habit.
It's not a good sign if you don't know what you're doing.
I'm trying to make it a habit to really use the scheduler to be better about that. So let's see. I have got Terraria episodes on the scheduler as I'm getting caught up. I've got some Twitch stuff on the scheduler. I've got some more therapy videos on the scheduler. My what it's really like to be a therapist video has done all right. I've received several positive, nice comments on that, which I appreciate. There's always the chance that releasing personal stuff on the internet can be met with, well, let's just say not niceness. And I got niceness. So that encouraged me to make a couple
Yeah,
other.
there's a Penny Arcade comic that pretty much sums it up. Anonymity plus normal person equals asshole.
Yes, but I haven't received any of that. So, audience, you're very nice to me, and I appreciate it. But there's some more therapy stuff. I've got a new series that I'm going to test out called Therapy 101, which is where I just spend a few minutes talking about some kind of therapeutic concepts and things like that. And we'll see how it does. I've recorded 2 episodes just to do as tests. And some more kind of personal stuff, not on the same levels of that video, but just like my own personal therapy style and like what to expect when you walk into my therapy office, that sort of thing.
You're just trying to get all the Steam cards, aren't you?
Yeah, I want all the Steam cards. So yeah, and then there's a couple more Eve Explained videos in the pipeline that will be coming out. There's one where I explain planets, and there is one where I explain hangars, which that sounds simple, like, oh, a hangar bay, but they can get really complicated.
It's where you put your coat and never use it again because you're not going to go outside because you're playing Eve.
Touche. Other than that, this week on Twitch, we are going to be playing a lot of Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much trumped everything else.
It has, because it's amazing. So
yeah, especially when we find the good games for it. Yeah, get away from launch.
Yeah, get away from that. There's another.
That was probably about the worst game to start with, to be honest.
Yeah, there's another space game that actually looks really good. I can't think of the name of it now. I want to say it's called Space Race, and it covers like the 60s to the 80s.
I'll have to look at it. It seems familiar though.
And it's like it's a kind of a card deck. I don't know. I haven't played it, but it's you kind of build this board out of cards, and it's like launched a mission to Saturn, get this much science that you can use to invest in upgrading stuff for the for the future. So it looks fun. So that's on my list. I'm not sure how many players you can play it with though, but that would be a fun one to learn.
Yeah, I've been going to different videos and looking at like top games that everyone should play or own, or best small group games, that sort of thing.
Right.
And it's been informative. I probably have 35 games loaded onto the workshop.
Nice. That's about how many I have loaded, but all of mine are from personal experience. So yeah,
things like Robinson Crusoe, co-op games, that sort of thing.
If it works well, have you ever heard of Forbidden Island or Forbidden Desert?
Well, Robinson Crusoe's full title is Robinson Crusoe and the Forbidden Island, or something like that.
No. Forbidden Island is its own game.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if it was the same thing.
No. It's a cooperative game that is actually pretty fun with only 2 people, so we might check that out as long as it works on Tabletop Simulator. It's got kind of a weird board that could become fiddly. But anyways, yeah, if you want to come watch me on Twitch, twitch.tv/jarthur4707, you can watch us play Tabletop Simulator this week, and probably next week, and probably the next one. And of course, my
eventually
YouTube.
We're gonna have to do Secret Hitler, I think.
Eventually,
once we get a big enough group.
Yeah, if we
hate one another.
Yeah, if we had a big enough group, I think we could pull it off with 5. That's a little small, but I think we could do it. 6 or 7 would be preferable.
Yeah, it seems like 6 or 7 is like the perfect number.
Yeah, and of course, my YouTube channel, which I didn't even mention, doing a bad job of promotion this week, is Gaming Psychologist. And then, of course, if you want to follow me on Twitter, which is where you can keep up with everything of mine that's going on, because everything gets posted to Twitter, you can do so at JMA4707. What about you, Rach? What you got going on?
Well, I'm in the middle of all my series right now. Terraria is going strong. I'm being a bit of a dumbass once again in Darksiders, but that's hardly new. I got a real good dumbass moment coming up in about 2 or 3 episodes from now.
Nice. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it seems... Well, I'm not sure if you're watching Darksiders.
I watch a smattering of it here and there. The weeks when you're like, man, this really interesting thing happened, I'm like, oh, gotta go watch that.
Yeah, in about a week, I have a really big dumbass moment. Basically, I forgot something once again. Because I hadn't used it in 30 episodes.
Okay. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, well, also, it's not my genre of game I typically play, so forget about certain things.
Right.
And, well, Stone Tales is going on still, and you can hear me getting more and more frustrated and angry at the game over the next week and a half as it wraps up. And I think I'm going to do a big project to replace it. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. I may throw the idea at you and see what you think of it off air, because it's going to be a bit of a change if I do what I'm thinking about doing. And of course, also, whenever I announce that I'm going to do something and it completely screws up.
Right. Of course it does.
Fucking Ubisoft.
Oh, okay.
Well, remember Call of Juarez?
Yeah.
I was so excited to play that.
Yeah.
And then it didn't work because I had the audacity to have a processor that has more than 2 cores, I'm not even sure if you could buy a processor these days that has 2 cores or less.
You can. There's some ultra budget processors that have got 1 or even 2 cores. The i3 still got 2 cores.
Okay, so I would have to basically build a brand new computer.
Yeah.
Fucking Ubisoft. And, well, there's the podcast that will be on Friday on my channel, which you're currently listening to.
Yeah. You've made it all the way to the end, so you already know that it's there.
Yeah, but the thing is that I post mine on Fridays.
I'm making beady eyes at my computer monitor right now. No, that's fair. I got behind, circumstances and whatnot. I'm catching up. I'll be there.
Yeah, but I enjoy poking fun at you. I'm going to miss this when you're actually caught up.
I should be caught up this week. I mean, I bumped the Terraria videos to the front of the schedule along with the podcast. Well, I mean, this podcast obviously hasn't been scheduled yet now.
It was just so hilarious seeing content that I released, the better part of a month ago popping up. It's like, wait, did I, am I on the wrong day? And then I realized the number is like, oh, it's that number he's releasing?
Yep. Nope. I've got, let's see, you released 8, 9 comes out this week. I've got all the way up through episode 11 uploaded and scheduled. Obviously, once I get caught up to 9, it will go back to the regular timeline.
Yeah, it just kind of threw me for a loop because I saw that on an off day, and I kind of panicked for half a second. Then I realized, wait a minute, it's Monday.
Yep. I've considered releasing multiple videos on the same day, but I don't like to do that. I already have enough time filling content holes as it is, so I try not to release multiple videos on the same day. Plus, there's diminishing returns when you do that. Even on channels small like ours, you can see diminishing returns.
Yeah, I'm probably pushing it by having an episode or a video coming out once a day, with the podcast being the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Because once you get past a certain point, you're spamming people and they unsubscribe. But my final video is actually the Sunday Sampler, which has kind of turned into like the all quick look series all the time.
Yeah.
I'm actually toying around with the idea of separating the quick look series again, because it was originally its own thing. But that would be 9 videos a week, unless the Sunday Sampler is, just an intermittent thing. And honestly, I like the name Sunday Sampler too much to give it up.
Yeah,
and
alliterations are amazing.
And it has a pretty golden frame on it as well. What can I say? I'm very proud of my overlays that I created.
I like those. They're nice.
Yeah, it took me a whole hour after, that's including finding the proper textures.
1 whole hour.
But I thought they turned out rather well.
Yeah,
but
they
the
look nice.
Sunday Sampler, it may actually be ISIS Defense, and take a look at that. That's going to be interesting. I'm still up in the air if I'm going to do it, or even if I get a more interesting title for a review copy, because who knows what will drop between now and Friday when I usually record that. And you can find all of that on Gaming with Caffeine Rage, or you could follow me on Twitter, Gaming with CR, where I occasionally tweet other things.
Right.
I've been kind of neglecting Twitter lately. Mostly just tweeting at Kerbalcast random things. But I did a little bit better today, posting a random picture. Not sure if you saw that. of my spirit animal.
Yeah, I saw that. The dog.
I thought it was fitting.
Indeed it was. I laughed at it, and then I went, "Man, that's really poorly photoshopped."
Yeah.
But that kind of adds to the charm.
Yeah, really. Yeah, at least I wasn't the one that photoshopped it, so the fact that being poorly photoshopped doesn't affect me at all.
Right.
It was either that or the grumpy kitten as my spirit animal, and I prefer that. If I could replace the beer with root beer, because I don't think I would want Budweiser.
Yeah, Budweiser's okay. I can't stand Bud Light, but Budweiser's all right. And I'm sure, like, the collective internet is going, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But I don't know. I don't have a problem with it.
I'm just not a beer fan. I don't drink at all, so even though I did find one thing that looks interesting that I may want to try at some point. It's a cocktail.
Okay.
It's called a Moscow Mule.
Moscow Mule. Let's just Google that real quick. Moscow Mule.
It's basically ginger beer, vodka, and lime juice.
That does not sound good to me, to be honest.
It sounds interesting.
I'm not the biggest fan of ginger beer. That's the main problem I have with it. But who knows? Maybe with vodka and lime, it's not too bad.
And a little bit of sugar as well.
Loves me some sugar and alcohol. It makes it easier to go down, always.
Well, a spoonful of sugar.
Indeed. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. So we'll throw a quick thank you to Internet Archive for being the unknowing supporter of the podcast.
Indeed, allowing us to upload, at this point, over a gigabyte, potentially 2 gigabytes worth of audio data to you for free. Mm-hmm. We love you. We should give you some money.
Yeah, which... Are we going to launch the Patreon this week? Now that I've made it look slightly pretty. I still want to change the font on that.
We'll see. I should go review it, and...
You didn't even look? I even set the custom URL.
Aw, you're a sweetheart.
Now you gotta go look at it before we continue.
Fine, I'll go look at it.
I'll sit here and wait.
I'll go look at it right now. Maybe I'll cut in some more elevator music. Okay, that's nice. That's nice looking in the background. Or the banner image, I should say.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that font. I'm probably going to change it.
I like it, though. I mean, if you want to change it, go ahead. I'm not the one who's doing the work. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, we might launch it this week and then just start adding the bonuses later, just to go ahead and put it up so people can actually go look at it.
Go look at it and laugh at my photoshopping skills.
Yeah, they're not my skills, so I don't really care. I mean, at least I'm honest.
At least it's better than what was up there. Yeah, completely missized.
Yeah. Well,
and I even fixed the avatar.
I was going real fast.
Oh my.
Oh yeah. All right. So, but yeah, Patreon. We'll see about putting it up this week. There's a chance it will happen.
But if it does, we'll tweet it out.
Yeah. First, though, you should go give money to Internet Archive. They're cooler than we are.
Yeah.
Then come give us money.
Yeah, so we could give throw some money to Internet Archive.
Yeah.
But if you wish to email us and tell us just how more awesome Internet Archive is than us, you could reach us at vglpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at vglpodcast. You're not disagreeing here.
Why would I disagree?
At least say that we're at least somewhat awesome.
Yeah, I know. Why? Oh, somewhat awesome. Yeah, sure. We're somewhat awesome. Internet Archive is cooler, but I mean, we're cool still. They're like the cool kids that we want to be, and we're just like the normal cool kids that, I don't know. I guess you guys want to be like...
You don't sound very convincing.
Don't do that, guys. Don't be like us. Be cooler than we are. Be cool like Internet Archive.
Don't ramble about anime for 45 minutes.
I'm pushing the eject button on this conversation.
And more elevator music.
Yep. So anyways.
And, well, after you're done looking at Internet Archive, you can find our website at videogamelogicpodcast.blogspot.com. Anything you want to say about that?
It's great. Go there and check it out.
And I haven't touched the art on it.
Nope, that was all me. And a template.
I really need to look at that at some point.
You've got full administrative rights, so you can make all the prettification changes you want.
Depending on how hard it is to make a template there.
Right. I don't know. I've never made a template. Probably not hard.
Let's get out of here before we cause more damage. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod. You can find his work at Computech.com. And I'm assuming the elevator music is there as well.
No, actually, I just found that from an open source on YouTube. I can look that up so we can properly cite it.
Because I had no idea you did that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I just looked it up one day this is a really hard transition. I need something to help fix it. And I found some elevator music that was open source on YouTube. And I was like, oh, this works.
Assuming that they require attribution.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll go check it out. And I will report back to you.
But as that music, well, not the elevator music, hopefully.
You're going to steal my line. As the music
goes over your voice.
As the music starts to roll across my voice. Bye-bye now.
See you next time.
Bye-bye. Stealing my line. What's wrong with you?
Trying to get us out of there.
Yeah. We'll be all right. We'll fix it in post.
We're not going to fix it in post.